Let's call this meeting to order, please. Everybody sit down. Now that everybody has sat down, can everybody please stand up? Mr. Bowden?
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the event of an emergency, the proper method of exiting the council chambers is through the 3 doors in the rear. You will walk out the doors, out the steps, away from the building. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session, I have a list on the front. Please come, sign in, and your name will be called. All cell phones, please turn them off. They're annoying, and we should start talking more to each other than start texting each other. Mr. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Okay.
Mrs. Ormond.
Here.
Javik.
Here.
Brown. Mr. Brown is ill.
He's excused. I'm sorry.
Cosby.
Present.
Roman.
Here.
Strano.
Here.
Yamakaitis.
Here.
Medina.
Here.
Hickey.
Here.
Mr. Alvarez.
Here. At this time, I need a motion to approve the minutes of February 20, 2018 regular meeting.
Council President, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the February 20th, 2018 minutes and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond.
Yes.
Javik.
Yes.
Mohammed.
Yes.
Cosby.
Yes.
Roman.
Here.
Strano.
Yes.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Hickey.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes. At this time, we have a few presentations. I will ask our mayor to please come forward. And at the same time, Ms. Nancy Braxton, can you please come forward? She's shaking her head right now. I'd like to put her on the spot, yes.
Next.
And at this time, I would like to call the Linden Tiger Cubs girls basketball team. They're not here yet? Okay. You know something? Sorry, Mayor, but just stay there. Don't go away. Ms. Braxton, thank you. You can sit down. We will call them later. Why don't we go for a second try now? Councilwoman Norman, can you please join the mayor at the front? And can we have the Linden High School varsity bowling team come up front?
Come down, take pictures. Come down, take pictures. Come down and take pictures.
Good evening. In front of us here, we have a group of incredible young athletes and an awesome, awesome coach who takes the time to develop her students into amazing athletes. Everyone seems to think that ball means basketball, but in Linden, I want everyone to know that when you put a ball in your hand, it means bowling as well. These guys, it's not the first time that they've won a county title, and it's not going to be the last. They're a young team, and they're strong, and we know what happens when you're young and strong. You grow to be even stronger. There's going to be some great things and some great championships ahead for this young bowling team, and I would just like to applaud them for a job well done, and once again applaud their coach/teacher for an outstanding job. Not only are they great athletes, but they are great young men, well-mannered, respectable, and smart. So we have a resolution that I would like to read, and we're going to have one for each one of the students. It says, whereas, under the direction of Coach Sherry Pisano, the 2017-2018 Linden High School varsity bowling team had a very successful season, and whereas the Linden High School varsity bowling team were crowned the Charles A. Simon Baker Tournament champions, Union County Tournament champions, North 2 Group 3 state sectional champions, and Watchung Conference champions, with an undefeated season, 17-0, match play winners, and whereas sophomore Anthony Golubeck captured the Watchung Conference high average 204.48, placed fifth in the Union County individual tournament, and freshman James Fitz had the Watchung Conference second high average of 204.29 and placed 41st in the state final individual tournament. And whereas in 2017-2018, the Linden High School varsity bowling team finished with a school record team series average of 3,270, and whereas the Linden High School bowling team was able to achieve these accomplishments with the dedicated guidance of Coach Pisano, who became the Linden High School varsity bowling coach in 2000. Ms. Pisano was named North 2 Group 4 Coach of the Year 3 times, the National Federation of High School Coaches in 2006, Boys Bowling Coach of the Year, New Jersey, and now, therefore, I, Derek Armstead, Mayor of the City of Linden, do hereby congratulate the Linden High School bowling team, Darius Lewis, Anthony Golubeck, Justin Peters, Matthew Sott, and James Fitz on their successful bowling season, passed on March 20th, 2018, approved March 21st, 2018, signed by Council President George Alvarez and Mayor Derek Armstead, and stamped, sealed by our County Clerk Joseph C. Bodak. Congratulations, guys, and congratulations, Coach. You want to hand them out?
Candace Myers.
Thank you.
Congratulations, bowling team. At this time, I would like to call Ms. Lita Slater and Councilwoman Cosby to the front, please. Hello, Lita, how are you?
Good evening. It's one of the favorite things that we do is acknowledge those in our community. I just wanted to ask the councilwomen to please come stand with me as we honor one of our neighbors, the councilwomen. If you would want to come stand with us. Come over. Yeah.
Can the councilwoman please come down with Ms.
So
Cosby?
I'm asking the councilwomen to stand with us as we honor our neighbor, Mrs. Slater. So, and I forgot my glasses. Come over. Huh? What's the number? 250. You know, you're gonna make me blind, but thank you. So, Women's History Month, we've been doing this since I've been on council, and we've always acknowledged women in our community. And tonight we honor a resident from the 8th Ward. She does a lot in the community, and a lot of times we don't usually give praise when praise is due to someone who works hard behind the scenes. I just want to acknowledge also that Sandra Vasquez and Louise Bayer were also in line for recognition, but they don't like to be in the spotlight, neither does Mrs. Slater, but she agreed to come, thankfully, so that we can present her with this resolution on behalf of the city of Linden. And it reads, whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, whereas American women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. Whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation, and we do, and you do. I see you wish you volunteer, and all of us out here are always volunteering, so. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, in the emancipation movement, in the industrial labor movement, in the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. And whereas despite these contributions, the role of American women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in literature, teaching, and study of American history. And whereas Lolita Slater is one such individual who serves the city of Linden and other communities throughout Union County through her countless hours of volunteering, and whereas over the years Lolita has volunteered with many civic and community-based organizations, such as organizations included in the city of Linden's Mayor's Youth Commission, the Black Dollar Fair Movement, AAU Basketball, Habitat for Humanity, New Jersey Cares, National Council of Negro Women, to name a few. She also runs a program here in the city for young girls, and it's someone's daughter, right? And she's on the, one of the founders and leader of that. So if you have a tween child, look into that program, which is on Wednesdays at the LMPC. Whereas Lolita is currently a social worker for the County of Union Social Services, a position she has held for over 18 years. She is the vice president of her union, CWA Local 1080. Is one of the founders and advisory board members of Just About Children's Education Incorporated, a nonprofit organization in Broadway. Lolita is the director of strategic planning for Someone's Daughter, Inc., a community-based nonprofit organization that offers mentorship programs in Union County. And some people also don't know that Lolita was instrumental in getting the grant funds for the city of Linden for someone's, what's the son's, the brother? My brother's?
It was My Brother's Keeper.
My Brother's Keeper, which was from the Obama administration. So hats off to you. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and the council of the city of Linden, that they do hereby congratulate Lolita Slater on her many accomplishments and recognize her as a woman of achievement during Women's History Month 2018. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be placed in the minutes of the City Council of the City of Linden, and a copy be fittingly presented to her. And this was signed by the mayor, the council president, and the clerk, passed later this evening. It says 2017, we have to fix that for you. So, congratulations. Thank you for all that you do in the community. Seriously, we really appreciate you. So now, yes, please, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to say a lot of times when you are working and serving in your purpose, you don't always expect accolades or a pat on the back because it's just something that comes natural. And for me, it just comes natural to want to empower our youth or encourage our parents or just serve in my community. So it's very humbling. I'm full of gratitude. Mayor Armstead, the council, Councilman Cosby, I really appreciate being recognized for my services, and again, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Michelle, can you just hold on there? May I call this time, Mayor? Can you please come down again? And I'm a little confused. I'm being told this Women's Month. In my household, my mother told me Women's Month was every month.
At least she trained you right.
Yes, she did.
Okay, I'd like to call Candace Myers to please come up. Okay, do you want to read? I'll let you read. Okay. Congratulations, Candace.
Congratulations, Candace.
I have the pleasure of introducing Candace Myers. She is a resident of Linden and also an Eighth Ward resident. She received an award Friday night from the Union County Status of Women, from which I'm a commissioner. So we had a wonderful dinner. She was one of 10 women recognized throughout the county. Well-deserving honor. And I have the pleasure of reading her resolution to you. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Whereas American women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. Whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. Whereas American women have been leaders, not only in securing their own right to suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. And whereas, despite these contributions, the role of American women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Whereas, Candace Myers, Director of Residential Services for YWCA Union County since 2015, the YWCA has been a forefront in the most critical social movements for more than 150 years, from women's empowerment and civil rights to affordable housing and pay equality, to violence prevention and health care. And whereas the Young Women's Christian Association of Emergency Shelters provides a safe, comfortable environment for women and children in need of immediate safety. As the director, Candace oversees emergency shelter services for 80 to 100 women and an average of 120 children annually. And whereas Candace volunteers her time singing at the annual YWCA Candlelight Vigil, trains faith leaders in handling domestic violence, volunteers at soup kitchens and food pantries, provides support to women and families in crisis to help rebuild their lives. She has led blood drives and domestic violence workshops for youth at the Mount Taman AME Church in Elizabeth, and now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Linden, that they do hereby congratulate Candace Myers on her many accomplishments and recognize her as a woman of achievement during Women's History Month 2018. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be placed in the minutes of the City Council of the City of Linden, and a copy be fittingly presented to her. Signed, Mayor Derek Armstead and Council President George Alvarez. You sure? She's shy.
Okay, you're gonna be here with me. Okay. Pam Jones, is Pam Jones here? I don't see her here, okay. Pam Jones is not here. We have Seoul Middle School Teacher of the Year, Jennifer.
Don't we have the Linden Police now, right?
Oh, you want to do the police now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, Pamela Jones is receiving an award also, but she's not here this evening. So we're going to move right along to the women officers of the Linden Police Department. So let me just say this before I read the resolution. There's an old saying that behind every good man is a good woman. But I think that we need to change that phrase because of our female police officers. We have to change that to say that somewhere in the proximity of every good man is a good woman. Because you guys are definitely not behind them, because sometimes you're out in front of them, sometimes you're just in the area making sure that everybody in this town is safe and secure. So
We don't care whether you're behind us, in front of us, on the side of us. When there's a problem, we just want you somewhere in the vicinity, okay, in the proximity. So thank you so much for all you do for our great city. Now, I know we have 10 female police officers, and I think we have 2 in training right now. So that means we're going to have 12 women police officers on our force, and to me that's outstanding. I can recall a time when there weren't any. So it's just great to have such women on our force, and you know, you add value to our force. So I'm going to, without any further ado, I'm going to read a resolution. You want to call them all up? Okay, the chief says call you all up first, okay. Come on up.
I can't believe you guys are so shy.
Oh, this is the wrong one. Where's the police gun? Oh, I got it right here. I'll just do it back up. Okay. So we have a resolution honoring the women of the Linden Police Department for Women's History Month 2018. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Whereas American women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of the life of the nation by constituting a significant portion of the labor force, working inside and outside of the home. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, and whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, in the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which created a more fair and just society for all. And whereas March is Women's History Month, so for Women's History Month, we celebrate all women law enforcement officers in the city of Linden, throughout the state and around the country for the extraordinary contributions they make to keeping our communities safe and fighting crime. And whereas the mayor and council of the city of Linden wish to recognize the women officers currently serving the Linden Police Department, Nancy Petrosky, who joined the force on January 31st, 1992, as the first female officer to rise to the rank of lieutenant, Sergeant Monica Oliveira, Sergeant Nicole Melchioni, Officer Stephanie Diaz, Officer Victoria Vasquez, Officer Michelle Bonilla, Officer Paulina Pereira, Officer Sonia Cano, Officer Nicole Andrews, Officer Camille Esparra, Recruit Maria Mercado, and Recruit Gabrielle Massaro. And now therefore be resolved that the mayor and council of the city of Linden, that they do hereby congratulate the women in law enforcement on their many accomplishments and recognize them as women of achievement during Women's History Month 2018. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be placed in the minutes of City Council of the City of Linden, and a copy be fittingly presented to the women of the Linden law enforcement officers. It's signed by me, Mayor Derek Armstead, Council President George Alvarez, and attested by City Clerk Joe Bodak. Congratulations. Take a nice picture there. Mr. Officer, back up so you can get us all, okay? Can you get us all? What do we have next?
Next, let me go over a resolution.
Okay. You, Michelle, you want to go? I'll let you read it also. I'll only do the police one because it's women's month. I'll let you do it.
Okay. Just call her. Okay, now we'd like to call up Jennifer McDonald. She's being honored as Teacher of the Year. It's my pleasure to see her. I've watched Jennifer grow up since a little kid. She graduated with my son Dan, so it's great to see you succeeding so well in Linden. She helps run our summer day camps. She actually is very instrumental in changing so many things, all the wonderful things that have been going on with the summer camp. So, you know, it just carries out from the classroom, which is a sign of a good teacher.
I just want to say one thing. Jennifer exemplifies what it is to be a great teacher. And she is one of the reasons, whenever you hear me jumping up and down and acting like a crazy man about hiring people who grew up in this town and let them become our teachers, this is exactly one of the reasons, because they put their whole mind, body, and soul into the job. And we need to start thinking about that all the way across the board, that when people graduate from Linden High School, they go away to college and become certified to teach, we need to let them teach in our school system, because that's what is needed in this town. They care for our children, they love our children. Thank you.
All right, I'll read the resolution for Jennifer. Whereas it is a priority of the mayor and council of the city of Linden to recruit and retain qualified, conscientious, and motivated public employees to serve the community. And whereas one element of pursuing this priority is communicating to employees that their service to the community is valued and appreciated. Such communication contributes to increased employee morale and job performance. And whereas the mayor and council of the city of Linden want to recognize the employees for their commitment to the city and its citizens. And whereas Jennifer McDonald has been employed by the city of Linden since May 2009, and she currently holds the title of Supervisor of Summer Programs in the Recreation Department, where she is responsible for approximately 70 camp counselors and 350 children in grades kindergarten through high school, who attend the City of Linden day camp and playground programs to ensure a safe and supportive environment for the children. And whereas Jennifer is also a 7th grade language arts literacy teacher at Seoul Middle School, where she has worked since August of 2013. She was recently named 2017-2018 Teacher of the Year. When she is not teaching, Jennifer volunteers countless hours of her time to the Yearbook Club, Seoul Smart Committee, Seoul Social Club, Seoul Talent Show Committee, serving as Title I tutoring coordinator, a mentor teacher, and is a coach of the Linden High School varsity and junior varsity soccer team, just to name a few of her many activities. And whereas now, therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and the city council wishes to express their gratitude and thanks to Jennifer McDonald for her dedication and commitment to the city of Linden, its residents, and our school children by formally acknowledging its appreciation to Jennifer McDonald for her dedicated service, and do hereby congratulate her on being named 2017-2018 Teacher of the Year. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be placed in the minutes of the City Council of the City of Linden, and a copy hereof be presented to Jennifer McDonald in permanent recognition of the foregoing. Signed, President Council George Alvarez and Mayor Derek Armstead.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the recognition. Thank you very much.
You gotta take a picture. Yeah.
Yep.
That's first and foremost.
My good side. Thank you. Thank you.
Being an English teacher, I think she should say a few words, right? Does everybody think so? Okay. Okay, at this time, we're going for ordinance on hearing. If the basketball team comes in, I will interrupt it and we will present it to the little kids. Anybody who wishes to go at this time is just our regular meeting, so, kids, you have school tomorrow. There's no storm coming, just school tomorrow. Oh, Nancy, the team, okay. Okay. We have another presentation. Can the mayor, Armstead, please come to the front, and Ms. Braxton?
Do you have a list of all the girls? You have a list of all the girls? Okay,
Just call Coach Parker
okay. Good enough. Okay.
and Sampson, because they're the two coaches.
Who's the other coach?
Sampson
Okay,
and,
see here. Okay, see here.
and Coach Parker.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, again, we celebrate women's achievements this month. We have some very young women here who I'd like to say are going to be our future leaders. They've done an outstanding thing. They are champions in their own right. They're the Linden Lady Wildcats. Okay. They're led by Coach Gregory Parker and Coach Sampson. I see him in the back there. And let me just say a little bit about the coaches. I've known both of them for a very long time. Both of these gentlemen have always given of themselves. They've given their time, and they've always dedicated their time and their commitment to our children. So it doesn't surprise me when I heard we had a victorious team, and they told me who the coaches were. I was not surprised at all. I said, these are the same guys who've been coaching championship teams for us since I can remember, and giving of their time. So we thank them both for all their efforts, because they know that our children are really our future. We could better preserve our future by making sure that those coming behind us are prepared and able to guide and direct us later on in life. So thank you both for everything you do, and congratulations, young ladies, for being the true champions that you are. I don't have all the names, so I hope the coach is going to come up with the names, or either. So all you ladies can come on up, and we have Coach Parker. Come on up, Coach Parker. Congratulations again, sir. Coach Sampson, you can come on up here. We're gonna have to go one at a time, okay, because there's medals in this thing.
Right, and the medals.
Okay, so you expect me to be able to read that, huh? Okay, we have, all right, good enough. Okay, so we have certificates and medals for all of the children, and as well as the coaches. The first one's going to Coach Parker. What is that called? Number 1 Winston?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't have the first name. Oh, there it is, Armani Winston. They're not in order. Avia Dornalis. Yadira Marshall. Justine Bailey. Regina Winston. Alani Gordon. Olivia Collier. There you go. Anesti Peterman. Ava Valabos. Kiesia Johnson. Janae Limbrick. Cassidy Moore. Aaliyah Gordon. Kieri Wilson. Ayana McDuffie. Amari Wilson. She's not here, but we'll give that to her grandfather. And last but not least, Coach Rashawn Sampson. There you go, sir. Congratulations, brother. All right, keep on doing what you're doing. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, congratulate these folks. What an outstanding group that we have here. So we're going to take a picture, and that's going to... Everybody. He said, bring it in, make like a family. Come on in. Spread it out, look at this.
Okay, let's move on. Let's do some real work here today. Ordinance 62-6.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 1, General Provisions of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplement. Delete Section 1-5.2, reserved in its entirety. Add new Section 1-5.2, businesses and occupations.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications been received?
No, sir.
Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I ask that the hearing is closed and ordinance 62-6 be adopted and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 62-7?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 31 zoning. Add new Section 31-49, short-term rental.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communication received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I ask that the hearing is closed and ordinance 62-7 is adopted and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Cosby? Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 62-8?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, and an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street, delete 45 West 18th Street, number of spaces 1, 504 Washington Avenue, 1 space, 625 East Henry Street, 1 space, add 625 East Henry Street, 1 space.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? Can I have a motion, please?
Council President, I request that ordinance number 62-8 be closed and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 62-9?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Delete Section 2-12.10, off-duty employment of police officers for police-related activities in its entirety. Add new Section 2-12.10, off-duty employment of police officers for police-related activities.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
I move to close the hearing and adopt ordinance number 62-9 and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 62-10?
An ordinance establishing a cap bank for the calendar year 2018.
Has this ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to be heard? Hey, please come up, please, Ms. Malik.
Can someone just refresh my memory? What is the function of this cap bank?
Mrs. Sack?
Yeah,
Yes, in 1977, the legislature had passed a statute that didn't want appropriations to go more than 2.5%. So annually, we have the governing body pass what's called a cost of living adjustment ordinance. This allows us that extra 1% to raise it to 3.5% within CAP's appropriation to allow for banking in the event that our budget needed it. Sometimes we need to have appropriations increase within CAP. If there's certain contract years that prices go up, we need to be able to have that breakage. This is what this ordinance allows us to use at CAP Bank.
And what did you call that 1%? What was,
This is what this ordinance is called, the cost of living adjustment. It's a CAP Bank adjustment.
okay, so is
We
this the
adopted
first time that we're
annually.
using this, or we've had this?
No, we've been doing this since 1977.
Okay, and how are we doing with this cap bank? I mean, if we've,
Some years we have utilized the CAP Bank, other years we haven't. This year, I don't believe that we're going to need to utilize the CAP Bank.
so we're in the black on this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, I move to close the hearing of ordinance number 6210. Move for approval and request a
Chief.
second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6211?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration of an Ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and is amended and supplemented. Section 2-12, Department of Police, delete Section 2.12.1, created Department of Police, add new Section 2.12.1, created Department of Police.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
I move that ordinance number 6211 hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted, and I request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6212?
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Establishing a Schedule of Titles, Salary Ranges, and Regulations for Maintaining the Classification and Salary Standardization Plan of all employees of the City of Linden, passed August 15, 1995, and approved August 16, 1995, amending and modifying Schedule 4-MM-2.
Has this ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, I move to close the hearing of ordinance number 6212. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Yes. Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey? Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6213?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23, 1999, and approved November 24, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Section 7-16, Parking of Trucks, delete 7-161, 16.1, prohibited in its entirety, add new section 7-16.1.
Has this ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Mr. President, I move the ordinance, the hearing on ordinance 6213 be closed, the ordinance adopted, and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Yes. Cosby?
Yes.
Roman? Yes. Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6214?
An ordinance vacating a portion of Southwood Avenue pursuant to NJSA 40:67-1 at sequence.
Has this ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Council President, I move to close the hearing on 62-14 and adopt the ordinance and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 6215?
An ordinance accepting a dedication of a portion of Southwood Avenue as a public roadway pursuant to NJSA 40:67-1 at sequence.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to be heard on this ordinance? Mr. Principato?
Good evening, John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. I had my hand up for the ordinance before that, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
it
I
looks
didn't
to
see.
me like they kind of coincide, or can you explain what portion of Southwood Avenue?
Mr.
that
Antonelli,
is.
62-15, can you please just tell us which part of Southwood Avenue is this?
Mr. President, this is the
Yeah.
section on the other side of the Turnpike Bridge, and it's to allow an elevated road, a bridge over the railroad tracks to facilitate the movement of traffic. It's being built by private companies.
Now, is it the same portion as the previous ordinance?
Is it the same one we're vacating on the previous one?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Mr. Principato.
So we're vacating that area?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing on 62-15 and adopt the ordinance and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Porter, can you please read 62-16?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented." That Chapter 7, Traffic, Section 7-13, parking prohibited for street cleaning and maintenance shall be, and the same is hereby amended as follows. Add Lower Road, the east side, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Tuesdays from Parkway Avenue to Tremley Point Road, and add South Style Street, north side, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Tuesdays from West 20th Street to West 12th Street.
Okay, before I ask any questions, did we skip one? Okay. Okay, what Mr. Burdick just read is 6217, and for 6217, has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Has there been any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to say anything on 6217? In that case, may I have a motion, please?
Council President, I'd like to move that the hearing for ordinance number 6217 be closed, the ordinance adopted, and I request a second.
Second?
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Burdick, 6216, please.
An ordinance authorizing installation of traffic control signals at the intersection of Southwood Avenue and the new bridge and elevated roadway to be constructed.
Has this ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Anybody wants to say anything on the ordinance?
Council President, I'd like to say something on the ordinance.
Yes, Councilman?
Again, at this time, I'm also going to rescind my yes votes on the prior two that are in the same area, because accepting the dedication as a public roadway means that we will now be responsible for maintaining these roads. These are private roadways as they exist right now, and my comment is that I'm not voting for it.
So you're rescinding 6214
And 15.
and 15. Okay, Mr. Burek, you have that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other comments on 6216? 6216 has to do with the traffic light at the same spot where 6214 and 6215 is, we're making the change. Okay, may I have a motion, please?
Yes, Council President, I move to close the hearing on 62-16, adopt the ordinance, and ask for a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Yes. Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
No.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Burek, can you please read 6218?
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $280,500 for the acquisition of sports utility vehicles for the police department for and by the city of Linden, and authorizing the issuance of $266,475 bonds or notes of the city for financing part of the appropriation.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Any written communications received?
No, sir.
Does anybody want to speak on this ordinance? May I have a motion, please?
Yes, I move to close the hearing of ordinance number 6218. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. The consent agenda. All items listed with asterisks are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so request, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Items 1 through 9. Does anybody wish to remove any item? May I have a motion to approve, please?
Yes, I move for approval of consent items number 1 through 9. And ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Yes. Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. At this time, we're going to go with the committee reports and comments from the council people. I will be starting with Councilwoman Orman.
Thank you, Council President. First, I'd like to congratulate all of the honorees, whether it's for athletics or in honor of Women's History Month. This is one part of the meeting that I never complain that takes long, because we're always recognizing Linden's finest and Linden's best. I'd like to extend an apology to the residents of the First Ward who have actually called me and asked me about last month's meeting that took almost 6 hours. I didn't realize that so many of you actually watched the meeting, and you had mentioned to me that it was hard to watch due to the length of the questions that there were. And when you actually turned on to watch these scheduled sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it was just as challenging because you were never able to really find where you left off and pick back up. So I do apologize for the length of it and the redundancy of some of the questions that were answered. But if you do need the minutes, you can contact the clerk's office, or you can contact me. I do have a hard copy of it, and I'll be more than glad to make copies for you. It's approximately 60 pages, so it is some good reading material if you're, if you don't have anything else to do. I'd also like to say that our first and second ward had our public safety meeting on March 15th at the JTG Center, and I'd like to thank the Chief of Police and the Linden Police Department for coming out to host that meeting for us. Lots of concerns were addressed, such as speeding, four-way stop signs, parking, cars being towed in the event of snow, and just different things. So it was an informative meeting. But one of the things that was really focused on was our virtual block watch program. And that's just simply a program where if you have cameras installed outside your home, we'd like for you to register with the police department if you'd like to. So in the event that there's a crime, we can call you, or the police can call you and ask if they can view your tapes to hopefully apprehend someone. That was the case when one of our parks was damaged. We were able to, use a resident's video surveillance and actually apprehend the culprits. One of the things that bothers me is when residents go around and try to play detective. I had a call from one of my residents that somebody was in front of their house taking pictures because they had received new appliances and left the cardboard in their driveway for maybe an hour. A black SUV drove past, clicked pictures of their house, and little did they know that I have cameras angling everywhere possible, and I actually have it. So, let the police do their job, leave the residents alone. It's not our job to play super sleuth or detective. Next, I'd like to talk, we had about our next family game night. That's going to be March 23rd, and it's going to be at the John T. Gregorio Center from 6:30 to 8:30. And keeping in mind that it is family hour, we are going to serve pizza from 6:30 to 7:30. So please be on time and come out and enjoy. The last two were just absolutely phenomenal. Even though it was bad weather, we had a lot of people that did come out. So I'd like to see more of our First Ward residents. I also wanted to mention that we work very closely with the school district. We're not their enemies, we're their friends. And there was another school that did have a family game night the same week that we had one of ours. It's not true that they canceled theirs because of ours. Their games did not come in on time, and we just want the Board of Ed to know that the City of Linden and this council, we are more than glad if you have a family game night. You can come and use our games because your kids in the school are our kids in the city, one family, one group. So if your games don't come in and you have to cancel any event, we're more than willing to share with you. Next, our third annual Easter egg hunt for the 1st and 3rd Ward will be held Saturday, March 24th, 11 a.m. at Lawson Park, which is located right on Washington Avenue. It is open to all children, even some of the older children. You want to come with your younger brothers and sisters? We welcome you. We can use the help, and we also, like I said, encourage you to help the little ones gather eggs. There's going to be a second Easter egg hunt for the 2nd Ward and the part of the 1st Ward also. Most of those children live near Noski Park and go to school late. So that one is going to be on Sunday, March 25th at 1 p.m. And Councilman Javik and I are looking forward to hosting the parents and children at that event as well. Saturday, April 7th at 10 a.m. at the Linden Library. Mayor Armstead, Councilman Javik, Councilman Brown, and myself will be hosting a meeting on the redevelopment projects that are currently going on in the city of Linden and that are going to be breaking ground in the next couple of months. Even though it's for the 3 wards, all are invited because it's going to be very informative, and we're just really excited for you to see what's going on in the neighboring communities. Third, we're going to have our 3rd community barbecue, which is going to be Saturday, June 9th. Once again, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Ward residents are welcome. We will be raffling off a bike, again, like we did last year, and I'm hoping we can possibly even raffle off maybe an additional bike. If you're going to bring your family, this year we're going to ask that you do shoot me an email to lormon@linden-nj.org with your family's name and the address and how many you're expecting to bring, because we'd like to make sure that we do have, enough food. We just want to make sure that if there's any special dietary issues, such as you don't eat beef and you might like turkey burgers, we'd like to know that as well so we can accommodate and make everyone happy. We're also going to have our citywide yard sale for the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Wards on June 16th. If you would like to be added to the list, please send me an email to the same email address so we can have your name added to the citywide map. I know some of these things are far in advance, but I like to plan early, let you know, and I'll be repeating some of these things next month. And I look forward to seeing a lot of you out there in the neighborhood as the weather breaks. One additional thing, I do want to mention that we just had a nor'easter last week. We had some trees that came down in our ward. I would like to thank Mr. Michael Cesney on Keep Street, who picked up the phone and called me and alerted me to a tree that just did not look good. And I immediately called DPW, and within 3 minutes, they had sent a supervisor out to the location. He sat there across the street because he also said that tree is coming down within an hour. Well, I don't know whether he was psychic or whether he meant the tree crew was going to cut it, but within an hour, that tree literally fell down. I am thankful for Mr. Cesney, who picked up the phone rather than posting it, because it enabled me to get that supervisor there. And goodness knows, people had an opportunity to move their cars, and he literally blocked, Frank McCucci literally blocked the street so no one was hurt. We also had some wires that were down throughout the first ward. And once again, I'd like to thank Barbara Cooney-Lescoufer, who actually called and reported them. And within minutes, the fire department responded to the wires. They weren't electric wires, but they were moved, and the residents at least felt safe. So just thank you for continuing to keep me in the loop, and thank you for letting me serve you to the best of my ability. That ends my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I also want to add that the minutes are on the website, and the minutes for tonight's meeting will be on the website in the day after tomorrow. Also, the meetings are on YouTube, so you can fast forward them if you need to see, certain parts, or if you want to see the whole thing all over again. Councilman Javik?
Yes, Council President. First, I'd like to start with from the Budget Review and Finance Committee. The approval is requested for the following finance actions. Number one, the payment of bills totaling $1,099,855 have been signed by the Mayor, Council President, and Finance Chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the Clerk's office. Number two, we are in receipt of the investments made by the City Treasurer for the month of February at the rate of 1%. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Yes. Cosby?
I abstain.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Okay, now, with great enthusiasm, I would like to take this time to introduce the 2018 City of Linden Municipal Budget. This budget represents a total of $109,130,559.75 in expenditures for the year 2018. The Finance Committee will continue to work to further reduce expenses wherever possible. The Finance Committee has worked with every department head in keeping expenditures to a minimum. The Finance Committee is proud to deliver this budget at a decrease in the municipal portion of your tax rate. I did say that, a decrease of $12.77 based on the average assessed home value of $131,756. Once again, this year's budget addresses many issues pertaining to our police department. It puts more cops on the streets. It also brings our fire department to their full complement. I would like to thank all the members of the governing body for their assistance and recommendations on the 2018 budget. I would like to especially thank every department head for their dedication and diligence in preparing their 2018 municipal budget requests. Please be advised that anyone interested in obtaining a copy of the 2018 municipal budget, copies will be available in the City Clerk's office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. If you are unable to pick up a copy, you may contact the City Clerk's office at 908-474-8452, and a copy will be sent to you. It is also available on the city's website, www.linden/newjersey.org, and for viewing at the Linden Municipal Library. At this time, I would like to pass on to the mayor to say a few words about the budget.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Javik. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. In 2017, when we introduced the budget, because of the commitment that I had made to the residents of this town, that we were going to eliminate the garbage tax, We did. We were successful, and in 2018, there was no garbage fee. I stated then to the governing body that, for lack of better words, the town of Linden, the city of Linden, should have what we call a tax holiday. So I'm proud to be a part of a group of councilmen who has given us a zero increase, less than a zero increase. We've reduced the budget by $12.77 per household on an average home assessed at $131,756. In the past, I've asked that the other agencies that tax us, such as the Board of Education and the county, to do the same. We deserve a tax holiday. I would encourage those governing bodies to do the same, because if we can do it, I'm certain that they can do it as well. So I'm looking forward to all of my colleagues on this council to push and encourage those other governing agencies, the Board of Education, the County Board of Chosen Freeholders, to give the people of Linden a tax holiday and do the same by coming in with a zero increase with their budget, so that the people in Linden could have relief and give us a little more time to regroup, so that we can hopefully have a tax reduction again next year. So with that, Mr. Javik, I want to thank you and Councilman Brown and the members of the Finance Committee, and Alexis Zach, for your due diligence and for us having a budget with no increase this year. Thank you.
Mr. Borden?
Municipal budget of the City of Linden, County of Union for the calendar year 2018. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2018. Be it further resolved that said budget be published in the Worrell newspapers in the issue of March 29, 2018. The governing body of the City of Linden does hereby introduce the following as the budget for the year 2018. Notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was introduced by the governing body of the City of Linden, County of Union, on March 20th, 2018. A hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at City Hall on April 17th, 2018, at 7:00 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2018 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested persons.
Mr. Javik?
Yes, on our 2018 budget, I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Okay, continuing on my committee report, we have two big events that Lisa had mentioned coming up in the second ward. The first one is this Friday, March 23rd at 6 p.m. at the JTG Center on Helen Street. That's Family Game Night. It's been a huge success since it was started, and this time we are having, as she said, free pizza, so it's even going to be better. So please make it. It's a family evening. The second big event is our annual Easter egg hunt. This will be Sunday, March 25th at 1 p.m. in Nofsky Park on West Elm Street. And I'm guaranteed the Easter Bunny will be there along with our police and fire department. A little cleanliness reminder. We're in the process of putting our new garbage cans and recyclable cans on Wood Avenue. With this said, please help keep our city clean. Please keep all recyclables that you see in the street. Pick it up. It really does matter to the city. Also, please pick up after your dog and make sure that they have their proper tags and they're on a leash. Any city trees that need to be trimmed, please reach out to me at 908-494-4608. Also, in regards to anything on Wood Avenue, I am the liaison to the Linden merchants. So please feel free to call me again. My number is 908-494-4608. Enjoy and have a happy spring.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Mohammed?
Good evening, Council President, citizens of Linden. I feel like after having a 7-hour meeting, I have some good news, and that is reduction in taxes. I've been in this town 13 years, less year, but I paid a lot of taxes. And,
Councilman, turn on your mic.
thank you. Let me repeat that. I'm, for the first time, happy after spending 7 hours here in the council, and I also apologize to the citizens of the Fourth Ward. But secondly, I feel good to get a reduction. Maybe I can get a Big Mac after all. $12.77 is a great improvement rather than an increase. And I thank the Honorable Mayor and the Finance Committee for that great work. I have submitted the following streets to be repaved this year. They are between Bower Street from Bergen to Elizabeth Avenue, to McCandless from Hudson to Elizabeth Avenue, and Lincoln Street from St. George's to Henry Street, and Hudson Street from McCandless to Lincoln, and West Baltimore from Elizabeth to Pennsylvania Avenue. We also are in the process of establishing a shade tree list. And if anyone is interested, please call me at 908-494-6362, or call the clerk's office at 908-474-8452. I'm ecstatic of the good news, and I hope the national government would take notice and not pay much attention to gimmicks, but pay more attention to reduction of the taxes and the responsibility of the citizen. And I say this, the citizens of the Fourth Ward, I thank you for sending me, and I don't speak on behalf of the people, I do speak on behalf of the citizens of Linden and the Fourth Ward. Thank you, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Cosby?
Thank you. I'm also excited about the tax break, but I'm concerned that this is probably a one-time thing, and I'm grateful for the reduction and the increased revenue, and then we have all of the sale of property and stuff. So this is a good thing, and we can do more in the future by being more creative in our budgeting for next year. So I'm excited to participate in that for next year. Let me start with my committee reports. From the Linden Roselle Sewage Authority, these are the highlights from the February 28th meeting. The officers elected would be, the chairman is George Versick, the vice chairman is Bob Sadowski, who actually told me to tell everybody hi on council, and he's sitting home relaxing with his lovely wife. I meant to say that too. Treasurer is Mr. Ed Melalykchik, and the secretary is Mr. Ruiz. The union contract for 16 through 19 was accepted and approved by all parties. The plant operated in full compliance for the month of January. The authority approved changing their accounting system to Edmunds to better align with the city's system, which is a good thing. And violations were issued to Blue Apron, Linden Bulk, and General Magna Plate for various issues. So that's the Roselle Sewage Authority. From the construction code, this is for up until February the 28th. I'm just going to get to the good parts. Permits and fees were $91,413, and certificate fees were $300, DCA fees were $9,909, and a copy of the report is on file in the clerk's office for anyone who needs that. Also from construction code, I have a request for a light, and the councilwoman submitted this in the 8th Ward after checking and ensuring that this is an area in need of a light. I have it somewhere. Sorry, hold on, I have it in my folder. Oh, here it is. So I'm gonna ask for a light to be installed at 840 Bachelor Avenue. The pole number is 62022 LD, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
Thank you. We had to cancel our wellness series for the Nor'easter that we had a few weeks ago. So we have rescheduled the wellness series with the brain injury. It's going to go with our April 26th Fifth Ward Council community meeting, which is a regular meeting that's scheduled for John Street at 6:30 p.m. So we're going to do brain injury awareness with our nurses, and we're also going to be focusing on end of life and insurance. End of life insurance and investments. So we're going to do two things in one meeting, and that's going to be April the 26th at the John Street Center. If anybody's interested in obtaining tickets for the Lions Club Fish Fry, let me know. I am a member of the Lions Club along with Councilman Medina. The Fish Fry is going to be April the 27th, and that's going to be at the Gregorio Center. If you have a need for tickets, let me know. I'm also going to be giving some tickets as a prize or just like a free raffle at the April 4th Wellness Series, which is going to be actually at the Gregorio Center as well. So Wellness Wednesdays continues, and it's going to be held at 6:30 p.m. It's April 4th, and it's going to be autism awareness. And we're also going to have Mela Luca representative there so you can get some more information about healthful and healthy living. So if you can come, please plan to attend and get the information. Captain Williams from the Linden Police Department will be there as well to share his experience and expertise with, he's the commander of the Crisis Intervention Unit for the police department. So, you know, just come and get the information if you can. I wanted to say thank you again to Councilman Brooks, former Councilman Brooks, who attended the February community meeting for the Fifth Ward and provided information about higher education, finances. So it was a rainstorm that night, and people who wanted to be there and get the information, they did come. So I appreciate them for that. And I don't want to hold the meeting out too long, but if anybody has a need to contact me, I have a social media account, Rashana, facebook.com, Rashana. I also have a website, rashana.com. I also do free text message alerts. So like if you want to get an alert for meetings or things going on, you can always text 07036-284483. It's free if your text messages are free. And I just do alerts for when there's a meeting, reminders for certain things, and emergency alerts. If your child would be interested in the Hooked on Fishing Club, the first team meeting is this Thursday at the Wilson Ponds, 6:30. The children should probably already be pre-registered. We already have 25 children right now, and the season's looking very exciting. So if your children would like to join, this is the first meeting, and they should start now so that they can get in as we progress, because we're going to be cutting it off once we get to a certain number of children. And my telephone number is 908-718-7933. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Roman?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start off congratulating all those that were honored tonight, especially all the women. I have the honor of sharing my birthday, which is March 8th, with, it's an International Women's Day. I get the honor to share with all the amazing women in this world. Public property report. I have a report I need to read here. This is essentially all the tolls and collections that we collect around the train station around the city. New York side collections, we collected $2,646. The Trenton side collections in the train station, we collected $3,236. Credit card transactions was $26,852.69. Parking meter collections, which is down and will go up over the next month as our parking meters are coming back on Wood Ave, is $9,364.90. Railroad permits, $569.16, and merchant parking permits is $1,114. So a total of $43,782. As for, I just wanted to mention, as I just said, the meters on Wood Avenue are coming back. You might have seen them going up already. Council made the decision to put up the old ones back, but we are planning next year perhaps to buy new ones that are more up-to-date, more modern as we go forward with the revitalization of Wood Avenue. The county plans, I just got off the phone actually, the county plans to pave Wood Avenue next, maybe mid-April, they're hoping. Down the road, we might be even getting some new traffic lights. whether it's through grant, whether it's the county pays for them. So a lot is happening on Wood Avenue. The landfill committee, as a new member of council, I'm playing a bit of catch-up on this, but the solar panel project was actually on the agenda for night, and it was taken off by the committee. I can speak for the committee as the chairman that it seems like we could probably get a better deal on these. We were only going to receive about $125,000 a year for the next 20 years. So we took it off, and we're going to look more into it to see if we can get more revenue from that solar field out on the landfill. So, also, I think it's Fiabillo is interested in buying some land next to the landfill. They haven't come with us with any decent proposal yet, so we're just waiting on them. So we will see how that goes. February 28th, I had our 6th ward meeting, the first of many, hopefully. The meeting was a tremendous success. We had nearly 100 6th warders there, and I appreciate everyone that came out, and I hope the rest of you guys can come next time. It was amazing to see leaders, residents alike within our neighborhood come together. So many unique people, so many unique problems from all around the ward. And I promise I'll continue to work hard to get all of those many issues fixed for you guys. I want to thank Lieutenant Gunther, who came last minute at my request, so I had some backup as he helped me answer some, he had much needed backup I needed as these questions came in from the residents. He's our traffic lieutenant, and he was there to help out big. He's prioritized a lot of the issues, and he's already working on them. As I said, there was a traffic study done on Woodlawn. I was hoping for 4-way stop signs. It honestly doesn't look like that's going to happen. Michelle told me to join the club, so I'm there. Clinton's next. The traffic study is happening on all intersections in Clinton. I'm hopeful. I heard Clinton Morris is promising, so hopefully I'll have that report for you next month. Lieutenant Gunther has also reached out to State DOT. We're working on the 1 and 9 timing issues of the lights down there. It's going to be a long process getting the state, but we're going to get them down here. We're going to look at the streets, and we're going to try to get fixed for you guys. Excuse me. Meridia Construction will break ground this May. It's right next to my house. You may recall during Mayor Garbunka's administration, Mayor Garbunka's here, that's why I pointed out. Council approved 3 phases in the Transit Village project for the 6th ward. The second building is coming. It'll break ground in May, as I said, on the corner of Wood Avenue and Linden. 145 units, 245 parking spots underneath, and a restaurant will be going right in the corner where the old laundromat was. So I'm excited. I suspect I'll never have a parking spot outside my house again, but you know, if it's for the good of the city, to get some good place to eat and get our transit village working and get some revenue into this town, it'd be totally worth it. Down the street a bit, Walmart's due to break ground sometime in May as well at our old GM site. Pretty sure I've made my views on Walmart as a corporation known, but this Walmart will be a flagship store, and there will be other retail present. 2 good things about this Walmart. 1, it'll provide the revenue to stabilize your taxes going forward. And 2, the agreement that Mayor Garbunka and the previous council made forced Walmart to pave roads like Linden Avenue as well as widen intersections around the area. And that is a much needed and much welcome facelift to the 6th ward. So it's finally happening. Obviously, it's been years in the making, but I'm excited. The Wheeler Park Spray Park construction has began. A lot of people on Facebook were upset that the pool's gone. It's county property. The pool was leaking immensely, spending tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on it all the time. The spray park will be state-of-the-art. It'll be the best one in the county, possibly best in the state, and it should be completed within 170, 180 days. I've been driving past Blue Apron and down over near Linden Avenue, and the trash is just atrocious. It looks like an apocalypse happened. There's so much trash everywhere. So I had construction code go down there, and they handed out some summonses to all the businesses over there. If they haven't cleaned it up yet, I really hope they do. But if they don't, I've actually planned a 6th ward cleanup. It's going to be April 15th at noon. A bunch of volunteers. I hope anyone who wants to help can make it. I'm going to feed everyone, refreshments, etc. We're going to go out and we're going to clean the 6th Ward. That's it. Wherever there's a lot of trash, we're going to go and clean it. Linden Avenue, especially the train station area, until it's done, so that we can start off the spring season the right way. The county's coinciding at the same time, going to do a Wheeler Park cleanup and adopt a park through the Office of Community Engagement. So getting the whole 6th Ward almost done, and I'm excited about that. Snow's coming tonight. We should get anywhere from 0 to 25 inches. That's a joke, but from all the reports I've seen, what a realistic amount is 6 to 12 inches. I'll be out helping all the seniors in the ward clear the snow away. If you need me, call me. I could be there in minutes. My phone number is 908-494-5784. Also, I'm keeping a running list of sidewalks and trees that need cutting. DPW has been very good about it so far. Please call me, and I'll add them to my list. As a final note, I just want to make a mention. 3 years ago today, we lost 2 great Linden residents. Today is tough for a lot of us, especially us young Lindenites. It's a day we're never going to forget. We lost 2 men that I had an honor of knowing and calling lifelong friends, Joey Rod and Linden Police Officer Frank Vigiano. I remember vividly the days with Joey in St. Elizabeth's and the pickup games and the days fishing the Rahway River with Frankie. It was a wound that ripped through the Linden community, and it's never going to heal. Every year, the date will continue to hurt so many of us, our friends and our family, but it's important that we reflect and we remember those amazing young men who are no longer with us. So with that, I'd like to conclude my report with a moment of silence dedicated to Joey Rod and Frankie V. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Strano?
Thank you, Council President. I am in receipt of the personnel report for March 20th, 2018. The copies are down and distributed at the desk down below here. First, before I read it, are there any questions?
I have a question. Am I allowed to talk? Okay. My question was, so for the internal title, so this is not the civil service title that the committee requested for construction code for the approval of the internal title of assistant construction code official. I know that the committee requested that we actually create a title through the civil service, through the ordinance for civil service. So this is just a slash, is that what I'm getting?
No, the civil service title for the construction code department, for the advertised statewide for the full-time electrical subcode officials on, and the permission to increase the hours for the 2 part-time subcode officials. Your request was not denied, but it was felt that it was would be in the best interest to just hold off on that at the moment because we're in the middle of negotiations with the current, unions and different departments in the city.
I mean, I don't want to
It
hold the
does,
council
it does
meeting up.
impact it, it does.
I don't want to hold the meeting up, but I do want to ask that, because I asked to be invited to the personnel meeting as a liaison for the committee. So in the future, if we can kind of work together, because this department pays for itself, so I'm not sure about the negotiation. So, all right, is it a slash title? That's what I'm asking, because there was no ordinance, right?
On the assistant position?
I do. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm looking at last night's copy. Maybe it was it taken off, Jen? Just make me clear. Hello? Okay. Disregard, it was removed in my absence last night. Thanks.
Council President, may I just interrupt for a moment, please? Okay. I just want to caution members of council. There's a reason why we go into executive session to discuss personnel matters. If an item was removed last night, it was done or prior to, but it was, that conversation could take place in executive session. I just want to remind members of council to be careful when discussing personnel items, because obviously certain issues arise with regard to rice notice and other issues that come up. So I just want to remind members of council to be cautious and careful in discussing personnel matters.
Simple question. For all of these postings, is this adding to the complement of individuals for these different departments, new individuals, or are they replacing someone? That's just what I wanted, my simple question.
I would have to say that most of these positions that we're looking for are replacement positions.
Replacement. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to read this. Item number 1 in the police department. A, permission to advertise statewide for 2 full-time public safety telecommunicator trainees at an annual salary of $35,000 annually. Was previously approved but not filled, because if you remember in the last meeting, we approved 5 and only filled 3, so this is the other 2. In the Department of the Treasury, A, permission to post for 1 full-time clerk at the annual salary of $34,548 in the Treasury Department internally. If no qualified person is interested, then we will post it externally, and this is to replace a vacancy. Number 3, in the Fire Department, A, permission to post for 1 full-time clerk at the annual salary of $34,548 in the Fire Department internally. If there are no qualified candidates, then we will post it externally, and this is to replace a vacancy. In the Construction Code Department, A, permission to increase hours for Carl Gurney and Anthony Niebert, who are part-time electrical subcode officials, not to exceed 29 hours per week. Item B, permission to advertise statewide for the position of a full-time electrical subcode official. In the Public Property and Recreational Services, A is to the approval of the seasonal list, which is on file. In the Municipal Court, A, permission to post for 3 part-time clerk 1s, not to exceed 25 hours per week, and they are to be paid out of the POAA account at no cost to the City of Linden, and this is subject to the availability of funds in the said account. In the Board of Health, A, permission to advertise statewide for the position of a full-time registered environmental health specialist, and this is to replace a vacancy. In the Personnel Division, approval of donated sick time for employee number 107427, and B is FMLA/NJFMLA for employee ID number 000724, intermittent between the date of 1/26/18 to 12/31/18. Employer ID number 107659, intermittent from 2/2/18 to 12/31/18. Employee ID number 107871, intermittent, I believe, or no, this is direct, 1/22/18 to 2/25/18. Employee ID number 909342 from 3/6/18 to 6/6/18. Employer ID number 000134 from 12/12/17 to 3/6/18. Employer ID number 908987 from 11/13/17 to 2/5/18. I move for approval, and I request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes.
And I'd also, at this time, like to congratulate all the recipients of their awards earlier this evening. Especially proud to see that we have 10 women now in our police department, and I'm really pleased to see that we have 2 fine young women that are in the academy right now. It's just a great thing for the city of Linden. Shows you how far we've come. And I'd also like to congratulate the mayor of Linden, Derek Armstead, for putting together an administration that has been able to, and I've been around for a while, I can't remember ever having seen any kind of deduction in property taxes. And my accolades go out to him for doing that. End of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman Mohammed, for being alive. Councilwoman Yamikaitis?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, Linden and residents of the 8th Ward. I have an update on the traffic studies that were requested for the 8th Ward. Unfortunately, as Councilman Roman had one denied, I also had 2 denied. It was actually 3. We had one for Chandler Avenue a few months back that was denied, Chandler and Dill. Unfortunately, with that intersection, we were 1 accident short of getting the 4-way stop. The most recent 2 that were denied are Bachelor and Greer Avenue and Clement Avenue and Bachelor Avenue. Both have had several accidents at those intersections, but unfortunately, they don't meet the criteria yet for a 4-way stop. You know, it's really frustrating. You know that there's issues at some of these intersections, but, you know, under the laws that the police department have to follow, they don't qualify yet. So we're going to be looking at different ways that we could possibly, you know, slow down traffic at these intersections and everything. So we'll continue working on those. We had several car break-ins last week in the area of Clem Avenue, Meacham Avenue, and Greer. I just want to mention, please, if you see something, call the police, any suspicious people around. One of the things we're asking, make sure you don't leave any change or any kind of packages in the car. It's an invitation for someone to try to break in. Also, a lot of times the cars are left unlocked. I know it's easy to sometimes run in your house and forget, but please try to remember to lock your doors. I want to encourage everyone to sign up for the virtual neighborhood watch. When you have incidents like this, a lot of times the police ask you to register your home security cameras. They don't watch your cameras on a daily basis. What happens is if there's an incident like this, they will look to see in the area who has cameras that are registered, and they will call you and say, do you mind if we take a look at your camera from such and such a date? So it is effective in trying to help, you know, get a picture of a suspect or helping to solve this. So please, if you could consider, if you have cameras, register them. I would also like to congratulate our Finance Committee and Mrs. Zach. 4 years ago, I never would have thought that we would be seeing a decrease in our budget. We were digging our way out of a hole. There was a garbage tax introduced. So I want to, congratulate them on a job well done. We were told to sharpen our pencils, tighten our belts, and you can see what happens when people are consistent and work towards a goal. So congratulations again on that. I saw several postings on social media after the last northeastern storm about wires down, like regular cable wires, telephone. If you see that, please call your council person or the mayor's office. I had one in the 8th Ward last week, and I know, I'm not an engineer or anything. I don't know the difference between a cable wire or a telephone wire, but I called the engineering department, and they were right out there identifying what type of wire it is and, working to get it taken care of. So I know they're predicting this bad storm for tonight into tomorrow, so please, if you see anything like that, don't hesitate to call your council person or the mayor's office to get things like that taken care of. I'm going to be having an 8th Ward community meeting on April 5th at the 8th Ward Community Center on Bettle Place. We're going to have the police department in, and we're also going to, I've invited as a guest speaker our new department head from DPW, Frank Dan. So please come out. I'll remind everyone before the meeting. And this will be the 13th year of our annual 8th Ward Egg Hunt. It's going to take place hopefully this Saturday, March 24th at 11 a.m. sharp at Murkowski Park. Weather permitting, I have a rain date, I should say snow date, of March 31st, so any questions, please give me a call, 908-925-2309. Well, it's a traditional egg hunt. I've ordered over 1,000 eggs we'll be putting out, and we also have a free raffle with prizes like we always do, so I know the children really enjoy it, so please bring your children, grandchildren, all are invited. And last, I just wanted to make mention, April 1st is around the corner. Dog licenses are due. If your dog is 6 months or older, they are required to have a dog license, so please make sure you get in to get your dog license at the clerk's office. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Medina?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Good evening, everybody. I have a library report. I'm just pulling it up now because I normally get it in text. The library, the Friends of Linden Library, want to just send out a special thank you to Sharni and Roberts for their sponsorship of a Roaring Twenties program at the library, which was held last week. They also want to thank Meridia for sponsoring War of the Worlds at a live stage show, which will be held April 9th at 7 p.m. at the library. The Friends of Linden Library annual meeting and Linden Library 90th anniversary celebration will take place April 7th at 1 p.m. at the library. Annual book sale will be April 18th through the 21st. Again, any of this information can be obtained at the circulation desk at the library, so I encourage anyone that's interested to just stop by the library and obtain this information. They definitely host a lot of good events for the kids and everyone here in Linden, so please, let's get out there and support them. For the 9th Ward, I just want to quickly congratulate everyone that was recognized, all the women that were recognized tonight. Do a hell of a job, amazing. And I also want to congratulate I want to make sure I get the Linden Tigers Cub girl basketball team as well. But again, do an amazing job. We're happy to have them here in Linden, and we continue to see them be successful. For the 9th Ward, obviously, I announced some roads last month. Unfortunately, with these snowstorms, it's just delaying the road paving on the roads that I mentioned last month. Hopefully, the northeasters will just stop coming. They will just stop coming, and we can get a good update from our engineering department when the actual work will start. They did go out there and mark these roads, they marked the sidewalks, but again, with these storms coming every week, it's just delaying the process for a lot of projects. Just also want to thank Frank McCucci and the tree department. They have done a great job responding to tree emergencies and rectifying those issues, and they did a great job cleaning all the brushes and down branches throughout the entire city after last week's storms. Let's see what this storm brings or produces. Overall, just a big thank you to DPW. Did a great job in the last snowstorm. I want to thank them in advance for tomorrow's storm. And again, those guys do get out there and they work hard and they work all night to make sure that our roads are passable and safe, and then they clean up after the storm. So again, just a big thank you to those guys. Our community meeting, we originally had a schedule for the 9th and 10th Ward in March. We had a little bit of an oversight with the Relay for Life, so we canceled that meeting. We're looking into some dates in April. Again, the goal of that meeting is to introduce our police chief, and even if we can squeeze it into one meeting, is to talk about this great budget. But that's the purpose of that community meeting. Again, we're looking at dates in April. Just stay focused on our Sunnyside page and our messaging board on Nextdoor for more information on the upcoming days. As well, we're also working on dates for the garage sale for the end of April, beginning of May, and again, we'll do another one towards the end of the year in the fall. But again, be on the lookout for those dates. Also, I just want to comment on this budget. I want to just give a special thank you to Alexis Zach, Mayor, and his governing body. It was great. We're all on the same page. It was great to see a small decrease, but again, it gives us a glimmer of hope, or actually keeps hopes alive. So it's a small decrease. Now we just have to wait to see what the county and the Board of Education brings to the table. But again, we're doing our best. We're all on the same page here for a decrease. We all feel the same pain, but we did our part. And again, we're all on the same page. So it's, again, big thank you. That was an amazing team effort here on the governing body. So I thank you for that, and I think that's everything for the Ninth Ward. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Hickey?
Good evening, everyone. Initially, I'm going to start with all of my chairwoman reports, committee reports. First, from the clerk's office, licensing permits and transcripts issued by the city's clerk's office during the month of February 2018 and fees received have been turned over to the municipal treasurer of the city of Linden. City revenue, $3,961.65. State revenue, $475, with a total of $4,436.65. The city's clerk's licensing division is submitting this monthly report for the month of February 2018. This office issued 7 dog licenses and 54 miscellaneous licenses and collected $8,366. That one I have already. Now, this is my very important job from the clerk and his staff. I have my big poster here. First, I want to let everybody know that starting on April 2nd, you can go on our city website and you can register for dog licenses. And you will also be able to register on our city website for garage sale permits. We want to advise Linden residents that 2018 dog licenses will go on sale on April 2nd, 2018 in the city's clerk's office. All dogs 6 months and older must have a license. To obtain a license, a valid rabies receipt is required. The fees are $13 for non-spayed, non-neutered dogs and $10 for spaded, neutered dogs. Proof also required. Dog licenses can only be obtained as of April 2nd. So please don't try going on the website yet to obtain those licenses. It is April 2nd for the dog permits and licenses, and also for our garage sale permits. Okay, that one's finished. On to the, can I put this down now, Joe Bode? Very cute dog on there, by the way. We'll leave it up here just in case they zoom in. From the Fire Prevention Bureau. The Fire Prevention Bureau collected the following monies during the month of February 2018, $8,506.04. For the deposit report from the ambulance reimbursement systems for the Linden Fire Department ambulance billing, the amount of $72,849.71 was collected for February 2018, and they have been added to the total deposits for 2018, totaling to $159,868.83. Now on to my regular report, which hopefully will be quick. I want to congratulate all the honorees tonight. It was great to see so many children and women in our room tonight, and just wonderful. And I congratulate them all and for being a part of a great city. It was great to see them all tonight. Our director, Frank Dan from the Department of Public Works, was not able to be here tonight. He is preparing him and his staff for our impending storm, our fourth nor'easter in a few weeks, which is just kind of unbelievable. Councilman Medina and I have our second annual Easter egg hunt this Saturday. I do have a feeling, it's at noon, I do have a feeling that due to snow, I can't imagine all the snow that we might be getting will be melted by then. We will have it on March 31st, next Saturday at noon. We have a lot of things for all the children to do, and I have stuffed over 3,000 eggs already, and I have another 2,000 to go with the help of a few very wonderful friends. So it was a great turnout last year, and we are really, really excited for this year. School number 9, I've had some complaints from residents. Please, be respectful of all the neighborhood driveways and blocking driveways and dropping off your children, you know, making K-turns in the street where children are crossing. it's very frustrating for a lot of residents, and you don't realize how some of them sit in front of their window, not in front of their window, but, you know, see all of this. You know, I would never go somewhere and block somebody's driveway. We have to have respect for others. You know, if you're running late, park your car. I know that's what I had to do as a mom when my children were younger. Please be respectful to their homes and their properties. And please, you know, at time, we can't be all so busy and for a child to get hurt in these situations. Sometimes it's better to take a few more minutes out of your schedule, even if you're running late, to make sure that our children are safe. I've been to a meeting for the Shade Tree Commission. I want to let you know that I will be posting soon some concerns and tips for trees that I received from them. They have invested in new pruning tools, and I know our supervisor, Frank McCucci, is working hard to get our trees trimmed and taken care of, and working with the Shade Tree Commission for the best possible outcome of our trees in our ward. I know there's a lot. The weather has been impossible, but they will be out and ready to go. Let's see. I took a ride past somewhere tonight because I saw it on social media, and I do like to check some things out. There's been, and I don't have any control over this issue, but I feel like it's gone on long enough that maybe if I said it publicly, something will finally be done. The trash behind CVS is absolutely disgraceful. And I didn't go by the pictures off of social media. I actually went and drove by there. This problem has been going on for quite some time now. And I think it's pretty embarrassing to keep seeing it on social media and to have our residents see it on social media. And I just hope, and the committees and individuals know who they are, that they can finally get on top of this issue and clean up that mess. I know it could happen in my ward or any ward, but quite frankly, when it's brought to my attention and it's out there in the public, I do try to resolve any issue as soon as possible. With the impending storm, please, if you can move your cars in your driveway, in your neighbor's driveway. I know it's impossible for some because there's a lot of apartment buildings, I at least know in my ward. I'd like to try to get them to do the best they can, going curb to curb. They did an amazing job last time in our ward, and I'm hoping that everybody will be considerate and work with each other to clear our streets. Also, and this is a big pet peeve that I get from a lot of residents, don't park in front of somebody else's house so the front of your house gets cleared. You know, that is just as rude as blocking a driveway. Please try and be considerate to your neighbors. And I don't know if anybody has checked tonight, but the governor has declared a state of emergency, and the schools are closed tomorrow, Linden Public Schools. And lastly, I know everybody's been thanking the Finance Committee and so forth, but our employees and department heads were put up under a lot of pressure recently, and fortunately we had a good outcome out of it with a decrease in taxes due to the input of everyone. But I am chairwoman on many committees: Fire Department, Engineering, Clerk's Office, OEM, DPW, and I would like to thank the department heads, and I would like to thank their employees because I know you've been put under a lot of pressure. A special thank you to Alexis Zach and her entire staff. These are all individuals and the employees of the City of Linden who have been working tirelessly to make major cuts to their departments. And along with the departments that I'm chairwoman of, I'd like to thank all the departments. Because you all really did amazing jobs when you had to do it. And I truly appreciate that as a councilwoman and as a taxpayer. Any problems during the storm, I'm always out and about. Please give me a call at 908-347-4548. I will be posting also snow shovelers, Councilman Medina and I will be posting them on the Sunnyside page, and I hope everybody has a very safe travels. Try to stay home if you can. If not, please be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Mayor?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Good evening. You know, I just want to say that I'm still excited about what happened earlier this evening, the introduction of this 2018 budget. I mean, this is the first time since 2006 that this city has seen a reduction in its taxes. You know, a lot of work, a lot of time went into preparing this budget, and we spent countless hours going over it and over it again. And Councilman Brown is not here tonight, but I got to give him a lot of credit for his due diligence. And again, I'll say this 1,000 times. Councilman Brown can find a nickel buried in your living room sofa. He's that good with these numbers, and much of the credit should go to him and his due diligence and him bringing back the information to me and bringing it to Alexis Zach's staff. We were committed to having a reduction this year, and we succeeded. So I'm very delighted. Now we have some other good news this evening. You know, the ISP DuPont property in the 6th Ward, I mean, in the 7th Ward, in Ralph Strano's ward, it's on the other side of the turnpike. The property has finally been sold. Advance Greek closed on the property last week, and we can now look forward to the property being fully developed. In the past, there were two potential suitors for both properties, and it created a problem in that access wasn't going to be easily given to one of the suitors. So now that Advanced Greek has purchased the property, both parcels, I think that that problem will no longer exist. I'd like to also talk about St. George Avenue. We have a groundbreaking scheduled for our redevelopment project on St. George Avenue, scheduled for the first week of May. This particular development will be 114 residential units with retail below. It's going to be a significant boost to the local economy there on St. George Avenue, an area that has been economically depressed for as long as I can remember. And again, I've been in Linden all my life. We moved from Southwood Avenue back in 1969, and the area was suffering economically then. So it's going to be a welcome development, and the design of the buildings is beautiful, and I'm confident that it's going to be a very successful project. Also mentioned earlier this evening was the Capadaglia Meridia Phase 2 project. It's scheduled groundbreaking for May 16th. And to correct my 6th Ward colleague, it's going to be 176 units that are going to be built there. And if you'll notice the Meridia project, the first phase of the project, if you'll look at that project, and I don't want to, speak ill of the developer, but the products that were put on the outside of that building, I would describe them as inferior products. What we've done with regards to the second phase is that we've held Capadaglia Meridia to a higher architectural standard, and we're not going to allow the inferior products to go on the outside of the building. We have a rendering of the particular project that's in my office, and we will be posting it on the website. We'll be posting it on Facebook so that everybody can see exactly what the new building is going to look like. Far more attractive than the first building that was built under my predecessor, Mayor Gabunka, under his administration. Another thing I'd like to report on is today I went over to Blue Apron to discuss security issues. I'm proud to announce that Blue Apron has hired our former Police Lieutenant William Mack to head up their security there. William Mack has called me and has recommended that we begin some discussions on what we can do to go about hiring Linden residents to fill the security positions at that location. The thinking is that if we hire Linden residents there, we will have because of their proximity and the location, it's a lot easier to staff these positions with Linden residents. Security is a very important part of the business there. So, and in upcoming days, we'll have the information. It'll be posted on the Linden website, Facebook pages, Linden TV, and it will be given to our Linden First program so that residents will be aware of what is needed to apply. Additional news, this week we filed with the state the Trimley Point area as being designated as an opportunity zone. The state now is setting up these opportunity zones, and what they're doing, they're creating tax incentives for developers to encourage the growth and encourage development in areas that have been difficult to develop in the past. So Linden's Trimley Point has been designated as an opportunity zone. 2 weeks ago, I went to Washington on a trip that was paid for by a group called Go Rail. I went to Washington to advocate for our city for funding for what we call our short lines, and also to address some of the issues that are affecting Linden with regards to New Jersey Transit. The issue here is that funding has been made available for short lines and rail systems in New Jersey, but it seems like every year the Congress has to, and the Senate has to vote on these issues over and over again, and what it does, it prohibits the rail lines from developing a long-term strategic plan. So we went down to lobby Congress and the Senate to ask them that instead of letting us go year to year, why don't they pass legislation that will give these grants, these tax incentives for 10, maybe 15 or 20 years, so that the people who run these short lines, which is incidentally going to be critical to our development of that Trimley Point area, it gives them the opportunity to do some long-term strategic planning. Later on this evening, you're going to see a community benefit agreement / resolution. It will be on the agenda. This is nothing more than a resolution that will require anybody who comes to our town who's going to be spending over $2 million, not for residential, but for industrial development or warehousing, that they will have to sit down with this governing body, they will have to sit down with the unions to discuss hiring residents who live in this town who are union members first. Now, we do realize that this is not going to be a very easy task, but we feel as though moving in this direction will at least establish some dialogue and will at least make the people who come to develop in our town understand that we would prefer Linden residents be considered first if you're going to use, if you're going to be constructing and spending a significant amount of dollars in our town. In November, we passed a resolution, this governing body, to form a fee schedule that would allow for the hiring of, I guess, police officers who are not on duty, when they're off duty. Now, what happened was this fee schedule adversely affected the senior housing complex, and that it became a little more difficult for Ann Ferguson to be able to afford to pay for police protection. So what we're doing is we're amending the ordinance, and that it will waive the fee, or the new fees that were put in place for senior buildings and any buildings that are housing disabled residents. So this will enable Ann Ferguson to continue to have the same type of coverage that she had in prior years for those buildings, because security is a very serious issue with our seniors, and it's something we take very seriously, and we're going to make sure that we do everything humanly possible to see to it that Ann Ferguson can continue to run her buildings in a safe and efficient manner. And last but not least, I did receive a call that the governor has declared that this is a state of emergency. So I'd like to inform all residents to please remove your vehicles off the snow emergency routes. I also received a text that all Linden schools will be closed tomorrow, which is March 21st. The city of Linden, we will possibly have a delayed opening. We haven't made the decision as of yet whether we're going to be closing City Hall. It may be a delayed opening, it may be closed. We're not sure. We're going to be watching very closely and monitoring the situation within the next couple of hours. If we do open, employees will not be permitted to park on the rooftop. So please avoid parking on the rooftop. And last but not least, it seems like it was only yesterday, but 3 years ago, I woke up in shock and dismay. We had lost Frank Vigiano, one of a fine gentleman on our police department, and we lost another fine gentleman by the name of Joey Rodriguez. These gentlemen were. He was not only a good policeman, but Joey Rodriguez and Frank Vigiano were excellent residents in our community, and they will be missed. So I just want everybody to realize that we should never forget these gentlemen and who they were and what they represented in our community. And it was a tremendous loss for us on that day. I think that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolutions 2018-142 through 2018-178. Public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions which have been prepared by the city clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Anybody? Ms. Alex? Excuse me?
146.
151. 155. 157. 158. 171. 173. 177. 177, that's what the mayor just spoke about.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yes, it was.
That's about the community benefit agreement. Okay. Anybody else? Mr. Principato? 144. 144. 146. 152. 150. 159. Anybody else?
177, 178.
Which one?
178.
Ms. Cosby, 178.
And I'd like to speak on 178, please.
Anybody else? Okay. All right, at this point, I need a motion to approve resolutions from 2018-142 through 2018-178 with the exceptions of, and they will not be in order, 146, 151, 155, 157, 158, 171, 173, 177, 144, 146, 152, 157, 158, 159, and 178. Can I have a motion for the rest, please?
Now make the motion. Make the motion.
Can I have a motion for the rest, please?
I make a motion for the resolutions that were not omitted by the residents and ask for a second.
Thank you.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond? Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Crosby?
I'm going to abstain on resolution 156, 163, and I'm going to vote no for 170.
Roman,
Yes.
I wasn't trying to be funny, I was just trying to help you.
Strano.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Hickey.
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez.
Yes. Ms. Malik, can you please come up? Let's start with 146.
The $48,000, that's kind of on line, if you multiply that by 3, so 150,000. I kind of remember from past years, that's usually the operating budget. My simple question is, since the landfill's been closed, what is the total operating expenditures? Do we have that number?
Mrs. Sack?
Roughly, how many millions of dollars have we spent so far on this?
The last count that we had done was over $40 million, but I don't have that updated. I think the last analysis that we had done was over $40 million between the closing and the maintenance and the ACO and having to do the administrative consent order and all the requirements and all the quarterly reporting to the state, to the DEP. I believe it was over $40 million.
40 million. And when do we close it? When do we stop, dumping our
There's
garbage?
There's a
That-
closure plan, but I don't believe that takes effect until 2032.
Or, let me rephrase it then. When did we stop our dumping in there? So we.
I believe it was finally closed, it was officially closed in 2000. By the time the cover and everything with the impermeable cover was done was after 2005.
Okay, 2005. All right, thanks.
Mr. Pizzupato, ma'am, you can just sit here. We're going to 146.
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. The landfill was closed, but there were certain personnel that did the residual maintenance on the landfill. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that still being done today?
I believe the new director had made some changes down there at the landfill presently.
Okay,
I
because
believe the individual that was stationed there is retired from the city, and I don't know if anyone is particularly stationed there.
is it supposed to be open as far as day-to-day for people to get in and out of? Now, I mean people that are supposed to be going in and out of the landfill.
Mr. Pizzupato, there's a lot of things that have to be done there still, and the 48,000 or 46,000, whatever, can't find it right now, is what needs to be not only maintained, but pay an engineering company to do different things, including, I believe there's a pump in there, and we have to take methane out, and there's a lot of things that are included. And the number's a lot lower than it's been before. I'm not sure, but Mrs. Sachs said 2032. I believe it's 2030, 30 years from the time we originally closed it, but she might be right, I could be wrong. But I remember it was about 30 years or so. Okay, so we do have
So
personnel
we still have
in there.
maintenance that we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Don't go away, sir. Ms. Malik, 151?
This is kind of unusual. I thought that the school guards, they gave up their uniforms like years ago. So what is this? I thought now that they just wear like a vest and they have a sign saying stop. So what is the, am I missing something about their?
Mrs. Sack,
we have
number
guards with
151.
uniforms?
I'm not too sure about that. Again, I'd have to defer, possibly the police chief might know what their uniforms consist of. I'm not sure what this is pertaining to. School guard uniforms.
Chief Hart, 151, we are selling some surplus we have from school guards uniforms. Do you know what that is? Oh, and fire department equipment.
I don't know exactly what it is, but this is old school equipment, school guard equipment, just to be destroyed, I believe it is.
So it's, all right, school equipment.
Right, school guard equipment, that,
Oh, wait, I couldn't hear you.
school guard
Council
equipment for our
President?
school
A
guards.
school guard equipment. It could be like the stop sign that you said, it could be the jackets.
Council President,
Yes.
this way,
Who?
this way. To your left.
Oh, Chief, sorry.
Just so you understand, this is the legal mechanism by which we dispose of city property. The city buys things, we just can't throw it out. So we have to post it through the clerk's office. We want to get rid of stuff. This is the resolution that allows us to get rid of garbage. Okay, so it's just a legal mechanism.
So we don't try to sell this, we just dump it?
Well, if something has residual value, we'll try to go out to auction. The purchasing agents will handle that. But most of the stuff, by the time we're done with it, has no has more value as scrap than it does trying to sell it to somebody.
Good, thank you.
Right there, ma'am, don't go away. 155?
155. Oh, who's the recipient for these services for the visiting nurse?
Mr. Bodek, 155, authorizing agreement between visiting nurse and health services. Okay, we will have to get you an answer. Mrs. Cobbles is not here right now.
Sure.
She's the head of the health department. Oh, yes, okay, Ms. Santinelli.
Ms. Malik, the Board of Health here in Linden, as in other similarly sized towns, are required by law to provide certain educational services by way of information to residents and whatnot. So this is what that is. Yeah, we're required by law to provide these services. Obviously, we contract for them since we don't have a nurse on staff.
So this is educational. Why I'm just, bringing this point up, when my mother was convalescing, sometimes she would have a visiting nurse, come to the house.
Correct.
But that was arranged when she was discharged, like from a hospital. Do most people know that they have these services available? Because you said educational. It's not like someone needs maybe to have a blood withdrawn that this nurse does, or is it just education? And how do people find out what exactly does this include?
I mean, that's a very good question, but really this falls under the Board of Health. Obviously, we're just awarding a contract to pay for the services, but the Board of Health is the body that is charged with putting that information out to the public so that the public would know what services are available to them.
And do you know how they disseminate this information?
I tried my best to answer your question, but
Questions?
no.
Okay, anyone else on the board? No?
The Board of Health, they go through the liaison on the council. Normally, it's through the council liaison. We're supposed to report back. Whoever the liaison is for whatever the group is, we're supposed to make a report. The Board of Health, they go into preschools. They do education there. They do community activities. They do blood pressure screenings here. So they do different types of education. It's not for in-home health. So I would encourage you to maybe ask the liaison for the Board of Health or even Mrs. Cobbles. So she's at 474-8414 is the Board of Health. And she can give you all of the information. Also, the Board of Health meetings are public. So as they plan their activities, members of the public can attend if they wanted to get more information. But this is like the attorney said, is by law.
Okay, fine, thanks.
157, ma'am?
All right, execution of a developer agreement. I'm not that familiar with these properties, but down in Tremley Point, what are these properties? What are these?
Mr. Antonelli, what's Block 587, lots 1 and 2.01?
Sure. Ms. Malik, this actually, while it's a new developers agreement with PR2 GAR Tremley Point, they are the contract purchasers of the Linden property, LPH property over in Tremley Point there. So the developers agreement that was originally created and agreed to with the prior owner is essentially being readopted now with the new purchaser. And the developers agreement sets forth certain obligations that the developer must meet, but really this is all about, in large part, the bridge that's being proposed to be built there to allow better access for...
Bridge?
Yes, there's a bridge
Yeah.
in Tremblay Point
Right,
there
right.
that's going to allow the truck traffic to continue, because what happens now is it gets stopped to allow the trains to pass. So this was in the works for some time. The property was sold. The new owner has agreed to proceed forward with those plans.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
158, ma'am?
This is more of an academic question. A lot of the resolutions you'll see, area in need of redevelopment. So the question that I have, Who takes the lead on this? You know, one would not think that the city should be doing this. So just a question, and especially in 159, it's also area in need of development. So when this is put forth by, let's say, a planning group, I'd just like to know what happens with this?
Mr.
Who picks
Antonelli,
up on this?
can you answer this in 2 sentences or less, or should I try it?
I'm going to probably need
Because-
more than 2 sentences. Basically,
concise.
Ms. Malik, under the law, the governing body has 2 options: to declare an area in need of redevelopment or an area in need of rehabilitation. So you may see some resolutions in the past about a rehabilitation. Under either scenario, the governing body is given certain powers.
You mean the city council here?
The city council, I apologize. When the move or the resolution is to declare an area in need of redevelopment, that allows certain things to be done. Ultimately, it could allow the city council to use its powers of eminent domain. It also allows the city council to enter into a redevelopers agreement with a developer of their choosing, who then would be obligated to do certain things. It's really more of a tool, gives the municipality a lot of flexibility. It also allows the municipality to enter into what's called a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes, also known as a financial agreement. And under that scenario, the city enjoys a much greater tax revenue than it would normally receive under a regular assessment. So it's a development tool for municipalities. I have to say here in Linden, the council has a lot of opportunities to make development a part of the process here. The Tremley Point area, as you know, is one of them. There's several projects that under this administration have started and are getting off the ground. So again, it's the way in which these things happen. Developer may come to town, say we'd like to do certain things, but it does start with this council who adopts the
That kicks it off.
resolution.
Okay, fine, thank you.
158?
That was 158.
Oh, sorry, 171. Hold on a minute. Mr. Principaro, 157 and 158, were your questions answered?
157, my question was answered on 157.
And 158?
158, what's the location of that property? Should I go to 159 too? Or you didn't
No,
get there yet?
there's- Yeah, go to 159.
What's the location of the property of 159?
Block 587, lots 1 and 2.01. That's the same one as 157.
It's the same
Same as
address?
157,
Correct.
Okay.
okay? Well, I'll have you up there, 144.
Okay, 7th Ward Park. Is that the park on Lower Road? That's Clinton Street. Okay. Can I just suggest something?
Make a suggestion.
18th Street Park. Every time we have a little rainfall, the basketball courts are underwater for days. Maybe we can try to put some money aside for that park. It's a park I pass every day, 5 or 6 times, and I always see it underwater.
18th Street?
18th Street Park,
George, we went over there?
between 17th and
One by the
18th.
bridge?
It's near the brook.
Yes.
That's,
You know,
no,
I would like to talk to you about that.
it's not near the brook.
The one across the street from the brook.
No. No,
No, he's
the
talking
one
about
on Stiles and 18th. Stiles and 18th, between 17th and 18th. And then also, my other question is Wales Park. Did we set aside any funds for Wales Park, which was destroyed in the fire on Curtis Street?
Mr. McDonald is not here, but we're waiting for insurance money and that has to be settled first.
I can give some more insight on that as well. The first thing that had to happen was the people that destroyed the park had to make some form of restitution. They weren't going to get a free pass even though they were children, and whether their families had a lot of money, they had to make some form of restitution. Once that process has been completed, which it now is, the insurance paperwork, which is filed, it's just a waiting game.
Okay.
We plan on not only ordering the equipment to replace it, but we're planning on doing some upgrades to the park for the enjoyment of the small children.
All right, thank you.
Don't go away, sir. Let's finish with you, 152. It's for a parking permit software program.
Yeah, 152, parking permit.
Mrs. Sack, what's your question, sir?
My question is, what constitutes $46,500 worth of parking permits? I mean, are they just stickers that go on the cars? Is there some kind of computer program that goes along with this? Is there some kind of GPS tracking device that goes on these vehicles? What exactly is it? Because to me, it sounds to me like they're just stickers for parking permits.
Mr. Principato, it's over a 4-year period, so annually it's about $11,625 that we're entering into a software agreement with this company.
Okay.
We've been trying to become more into the 21st century when it comes to computerization. By allowing this will allow the residents to be able to do it online versus right now, sometimes it's inconvenient for the residents to have to go down during certain hours that the office is open to obtain a permit. So we're hoping that this would be much more convenient, and this is going to be budgeted out of our railroad account that we receive revenue for, from the agreement we have with New Jersey Transit.
Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Malik, 171.
When I read vertical carousel storage, 77,000, what is this?
Chief Hart.
The chief stepped out, but Council President and I could
Mrs.
possibly
Sack, please.
assist in answering. This
What-
was a piece of equipment that the Record Bureau has utilized for over 45 years. The carousel system that they had been so antiquated, there were no longer parts available. So in order for them to...
Just explain, a carousel, something
like a-
rotating or?
That's how I envision it, that it's categorized for their evidence and their record storage, that they've been utilizing, like I said, for decades, and they just couldn't get the parts any longer. So
Gotcha.
the chief had...
Incidental, okay, fine, but still expensive for that, okay.
173, ma'am.
Oh, what really is involved in this? So you're talking about resolution approving the transfer of 2017 appropriations to what? How's this used? What is this all about?
We're allowed to do transfer resolutions for prior year for the first 3 months of the year. This had been to pay old bills that had not been encumbered through the proper purchasing procedures. They were delinquent bills that were sent by a vendor but they were incurred in the year 2017. There were monies appropriated in 2017 in the police department's budget that they hadn't encumbered the funds. Once the bills received, they had breakage in their salary and wage line items, so we're basically taking the money from their breakage and putting in their operational expenses to pay their 2017 bill. That's why it's critical that the departments always put in purchase requisitions and encumber the money so that we don't have to do this. So this is something that clear up
So
an
it's a
old
way of
invoice.
closing the accounts and?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, fine. And you said something about breakage? What?
In the police department, we did not hire we had anticipated hiring more, but a couple of the recruits hadn't made it through the academy, so there was a couple $1,000s that were not expended. So that money was sitting in that account, and we're moving that to pay those bills.
And that's called breakage, you said?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So it's a way of closing things, and then, but there's a time limit? You said that you have
Yes,
to
we
close this
cannot-
within the first quarter?
Exactly, yes.
Gotcha. Okay, fine.
And the last one for you, ma'am, is 177.
Right, 177. You said that this was answered, so I don't know if I caught this, but a resolution establishing the community benefits agreement, what is the non-residential projects that are used to the tune of $2 million, and where's this money coming from?
Mayor, the community benefit agreement that you mentioned on your report?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, what we're trying to do is anybody who wants to come into our town and who's going to spend over $2 million on developments, we want to make sure they are very much aware of the fact that we would prefer that they hire Linden residents, for these projects.
So give me an idea for non-residential projects, and where's this money coming
When
from?
we say non-residential projects, we mean like warehouses, factories. We're not talking about somebody who wants to build apartments. We're talking about people who want to come in and develop large tracts or significant projects. The idea here is to make them consider Linden residents first when they're doing their construction.
So
It's private money. It's private money.
From where?
Private money, whoever the developer is.
Ms. Malik, a builder. Somebody
Okay,
wants to come here and build.
okay, all right,
Okay,
okay.
we telling them, please hire Linden first. That's all it is.
Okay,
That's it, not complicated.
yeah, all right. I don't know I have a resolution on here, but, okay, fine.
Okay.
And so the developers put up the $2 million.
No.
Mrs. Malik,
Yeah.
any project over $2 million, this resolution is making it so that our view is that we want them to hire union or non-union, whatever, we want them to look for people in Linden. And it comes down to simply, it's as simple as that.
Okay.
It's a please, if the work is
Hire
available,
Linden people. That's
hire
all it
Linden
is.
people. It's as
So
simple as
just,
that.
we're asking them to do it, but there's no mandate, whatever, for this.
I asked about the precedents, but, it's going to pass. And the intention is as I said.
So, okay, so projects that do go through that are more than $2
$2
million,
million worth.
it's going to be stipulated, there's going to be some sort of stipulation that X number of people are going to come from Linden on here. That's going to be part of granting the developer to do business. Is that correct? Is that the way you read it?
Exactly.
Sort of.
Exactly. We're going to try to hold developers accountable and in essence, make them responsible for hiring Linden people first, if they can, where possible. So we're having a meeting Monday morning. I've got all the unions in the area coming into my office. We're going to have a big meeting. It's about 12 representatives coming into my office, and we're going to try to discuss how we can move this thing forward.
Okay, fine, thank
Mayor,
you.
didn't you also say something about offering abatements and tax?
No,
incentives to
and
businesses?
we feel that
Holidays on this? Oh,
we
no,
we
wait.
feel that if we allow a developer to enter into a pilot agreement, that it'll be a lot easier for us to say, hey, listen, we've created a very comfortable environment for you to be able to develop, so we'd
something
like you to
back.
consider, with all that we're doing for you to be able to hire our Linden people. Okay, that's basically, the fact that we're
want that,
giving
I want
pilot
your
agreements to
back.
people, it's a leverage, it's a way we can leverage them to say, hey, you're saving millions of dollars, so why don't you just hire Linden people? It's give and take. One hand washes the other.
All right, but this is going to be a matter of course if if this resolution is passed then.
Well, it's a resolution, and it's going to be some negotiations that are going to take place, but our intention is to hold developers to a standard
yeah.
where they hire Linden people first. Very simple.
Okay.
Before I go to the last number, which is a few people that want to mention it, I need a motion to pass 146, 151, 155, 157, 158, 171, 173, 177, 144, 146, 152, 157, 158, 159. Can I have a motion, please?
Council President, I make a motion to pass all those resolutions that you stated previously, and I ask for a second.
No. Everything
Mrs.
except that one.
Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Crosby?
I abstain on 152 and 173, and yes to the rest.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemekaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Mr. Principato, can you please come up 178?
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. There's a couple of different retirement planning services that I'm aware of. I think there's Voya, there's Hartford, and I'm not sure if there are any others. Maybe somebody could let me know. We had the representative from Hartford come speak to us, to employees of the city of Linden, my department. And the gentleman was fantastic. His name is Nick Minnis. Voya, I'm not sure who is the representative from that company, but I'm just wondering, are we now bringing in a third representative? Are we getting rid of one of the representatives that we currently have? What's going on? Because this is a little bit vague to me, and being that I've been involved in both of these retirement plans, at least in one way, shape, or form, for 24 and a half years, I want to know what's going on. Like, what are we doing?
Okay, before we answer that, I'm going to have everybody answer questions, and then I'll have Mr. Antonelli answer everything.
That's gonna be hard.
Okay. Why? All
It's
right.
gonna be hard, because I'm gonna forget what John said.
Mr. Antonelli, do you have an answer for Mr. Principato?
This is the broker for just the Voya Financial Retirement Fund.
So we're going to be replacing Voya?
Yeah, this resolution rescinds a prior resolution appointing a broker, and also now reappoints a new broker to oversee the Voya Financial Services account.
So this is a different broker for Voya?
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay. What happened, I mean, from what I've been told from other employees within the city, some just told me tonight that they're very happy with the current broker. And how do we go from broker? I know Nick Minnis has been involved in this for many, many years, over 20 years that I've been involved in it. How come we're now midstream changing brokers?
If I could just respond, so
Yes,
this
Mr.
doesn't
Antonelli.
affect Nick, the gentleman you're referring to?
No, it has nothing to do with it. No, I know it doesn't.
Okay.
But what I'm asking is, if all of a sudden you came to me and said we're going to replace the gentleman from Hartford, I'd be pretty damn upset, because he did a lot of good work for me and took phone calls from me at all hours, gave me his cell number and so forth, and did a lot of good things for me. So what I'm asking is, why? Why are we changing the broker?
Because they can't.
Mr. Antonelli?
I was asked to prepare a resolution to change brokers. I could just tell you this, there are certain decisions of council that decide who perhaps is the appropriate broker. About a year and a half ago, this council decided to replace Brown & Brown with a new broker, and that was their decision. Just hold on. So in this particular instance, R.D. Parisi is the current broker for the city's dental plan, and I believe now there's a decision, once this is voted upon, to switch brokers and utilize the services of R.D. Parisi and the Wells Fargo group here to oversee Voya Financial. That's my answer.
May I ask who asked you to change the broker?
Sure, the mayor.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Roman, 178?
So, council, is this the same resolution you handed us in council caucus last night?
Who are you talking
Ms. Antonelli,
This is the same, well, this is a revised resolution from last evening. The resolution contains some additional information concerning the business entity disclosure and the addition of the co-broker with R.D. Parisi.
Why is it, council, Mr. Mayor, because you put this reso up, council, why is it mandatory that we add another broker to Parisi Associates, who was on the original reso last night and now has an added broker?
I was waiting for that additional information from Mr. Parisi, which I had gotten this morning, and when I did, we revised the resolution, sent it over to the clerk.
Okay. The real answer is that Parisi Associates by themselves aren't able to do the work because, as council said before, they're just our dental insurance people, and they don't do deferred compensation. That's why they need the extra. I see here that we are hiring this firm, but they didn't apply for the RFQ back in November when we put it out, request for qualifications. We have a list. It's basically our vendor list of who can do this type of work, but they weren't on it for deferred compensation. Is this a normal practice? Is this legal?
It's absolutely 100% legal.
Thank you, sir. Also, I see here, you said that they added, that the Wells Fargo Group and Parisi Associates, Parisi, is that the same name as the West Orange mayor? And is that his firm? Council? Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, Rob Parisi is the mayor of West Orange.
Thank you, sir. So it says here on the resolution, they have not made any reportable contributions to political or candidates, committees in City of Linden in the previous year, and a contract will prohibit them from making any further contracts. Can you explain this a little bit? Have they given any person on council, or the mayor, obviously, a contribution in the last year?
I can't tell you personally what they give. However, they have filled out what's called a business entity disclosure, which has listed the names of the current members of the governing body and a certification indicating that they have not, or at least if there was a contribution made, they would have to disclose it and sign a certification to that. If this contract is awarded, then they will be prevented from making any contributions during the life of the contract, subject to a $300 threshold.
So basically, it's the resolution says they haven't given anything in the last year and they can't give anything any further.
They have not given any contributions
Yeah.
to the current members of
Yes.
council or the mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, have you received a donation from these gentlemen in the last year?
No, I have not, sir.
How about the last 2 years?
Is that relevant? Last 2 years? It says last year, right?
Okay, so just a question is, have you received a donation from them in the last 4 years?
Well, I could say, and I'll answer for the mayor, there's a certification by Mr. Parisi indicating that he's not.
Mr. Antonelli, I remind you that you work for us and not just the mayor. Yes, the answer is the mayor has received $1,000 from these people during his last campaign. Thank you, Council President.
Councilwoman Hickey?
Well, Councilman Roman, you stole a few of my words. First, I want to let everybody know that this is deferred compensation insurance. Since I can remember, and I could be wrong, the city has always carried this out, as with many of our vendors, by an RFQ process, a request for qualifications. So in order to do business with our city, you get something this thick from our purchasing department. And it's very detailed, it's very meticulous of what you have to fill out in order to be a vendor or a vendor to our city. So EPG was hired in 2017. Now, I want to remind everybody, because you probably might not be familiar with this, but EPG is licensed. They are qualified by Voya, and they handle about $30 million of hard-earned retirement funds from all of our city employees and first responders. $30 million, okay? So our dental insurance broker, Parisi, and I can't understand what's going on here, because in January 18th, our EPG, Economic Planning Group, to represent our deferred comp insurance, who all the employees seem to love, was voted unanimously to do the work for 2018 for our city. They sent in this quite thick report that they are extremely qualified. And now all of a sudden, you know, it's funny because the past few months, at the last minute, we receive our agendas about a week before council meeting, Friday before, Thursday before. Well, it seems that every caucus meeting now on a Monday night, we get our agendas, and then all of a sudden, after everything's handed out and everybody's settled, and when it's time to go over resolutions, the city attorney comes out with another resolution that we are not able to review and to go over. And then the next day, as council meeting, as it's happening today, the resolution that was presented the night before that we didn't have time to review is revised for our council meeting. I don't know what kind, I mean, is it just because it's March, the shenanigans that are going on? But I have to say, I am hoping that council members here tonight know that this is about $30 million of our employees' hard work retirement plan, and it's not about political games when it comes to this. We're going from a fair, open process of qualified licensed insurance companies to we're just going to give it to whoever, you know, by just whoever the wind blows in. This is not fair, and I hope council realizes what they're doing to our employees and takes this off the agenda tonight and leaves the contract in place for the right qualified insured person. Thank you.
Ms. Cosby?
Very good comments, and just I wanted to say, it's funny to me. I'm not trying to make light of the situation. However, I've said before, we should get our information in advance so we can make questions if we have questions. And all I'm going to say about this one is, so we've learned tonight that there was a political contribution given to the person who requested to have this resolution done. And I want to say that previously we have changed the vendors, but we've changed them for specific reasons. You know, they could save us money, or there were some deficiencies in the services that were being provided. So I'm not supporting voting for this for someone who, number one, is not on the list of qualified vendors, and number two, who because of their relationship with a politician expects to get some kind of political payback. And so I'm going to make a motion now that we remove this from the agenda and ask for a second.
Second.
Third.
To remove. Mrs. Ormond?
No.
Javik?
I abstain.
Abstention turns into a yes.
No.
Mohammed?
You already said no, Mr.
Okay,
Porter.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
No.
Yamakaitis?
No.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Sad, yes.
Alvarez?
Yes.
5-5 with one abstention.
Well, actually, there's one missing.
There's one missing. 5-4.
I'm sorry, five yes, 4 no, one abstention.
So it passes.
So it's removed.
Is it? Yes.
Sure
It's removed.
is.
And so, with
Democracy
that,
works.
I want to just tell everybody in the viewing public and everybody who's listening and watching or who may have a concern, honest government. That is what we require. And we should not be forced to vote on things that we're not comfortable with, or because there are 6 people who are going to vote a certain way, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what we need to stop. And that's why we need to take a hard look at what the elected officials say and what they do come the elections. So I'm just going to put it out there.
Mr. Antonelli, I have a question for you, and please correct me because I could be wrong. You were asked a question if there was any changes between what was given to us, I'm saying us even though I wasn't there last night, given to us yesterday, and there's a difference between what's there today?
Yeah, there are two changes.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to know. Do you know, and I'm sure you do know, that the council, and about half of this council, has been going to court under Ethics Committee because there was a change from one night to the other?
I understand.
Don't answer.
Yes, to answer your question.
Okay, don't answer. Mr. Bodek, I ask you please not to receive anything after the due date. We will not be receiving anything more on the agenda. Anything that's turned in on Monday will be turned away, okay? If you want to turn someone in, turn it in and give us a chance to review it. There's nothing wrong with it. We look at it, we review it, and then it'll be voted on council.
Well, if I could say this, Council President, that's fine, but understand, if I'm asked by the mayor or any member of council to prepare a resolution, that's what I do.
I understand that,
You guys
sir.
vote on it, you decide what to do with it, but I'm not going to say no to either yourself, any other member of council, or the mayor who asked myself or my office to prepare a resolution or an ordinance.
I understand. I'm going to tell the council right now and the mayor, with all due respect, we will not be accepting anything on the agenda past the due date. Very simple. You have 4 weeks until next month to put in whatever you need to put in. Okay, Mr. Bodek? Yes, sir. Thank you. That's removed. Let's move on. No, we have ordinances, first reading.
I have one. I grabbed one from, thanks.
Here we go. We got first reading ordinances. The ordinance numbers are 6219, 6220, 21, 22, and 24. The deputy clerk will read the ordinances. Ms. Honan, can first please tell me why is there not a 23?
There
Was-
is a 23.
It wasn't removed? So it's 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23?
There's a 23 on the agenda.
Okay.
I was,
All right, I'm sorry. Can you
Okay.
please read 6219?
an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999," passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Section 7-33 Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1 Handicap Parking on Street, delete 308 Kennedy Drive, 1 space.
Does anybody want to come up to make a comment? No questions, just make a comment on the introduction of this ordinance. May I have a motion to introduce, please?
Council President, I request for introduction for consideration of ordinance 62-19 and request a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yeah.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Honan, can you please read 6220?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 10 Building and Housing of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999," passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Section 1, that Chapter 10 Building and Housing, Article 1, State Uniform Construction Code shall be, and the same is hereby amended and supplemented as follows. 10-2 fees, 10-2.1 subcode fees is hereby amended to read as follows. 10-2.1.1 as per NJSA 5:23-4.7A, fees may be rounded to the nearest dollar amount.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? No questions? Can I please have a motion to introduce?
Council President, I move for the introduction of ordinance 6220 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Hornan, can you please read 6221?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Delete Section 7-12.2, time-limited metered parking in its entirety, and add new Section 7-12.2, time-limited meter parking.
Does anybody wish to make a comment? May I have a motion to introduce, please?
Yes, Council President, I move for introduction of ordinance number 6221 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Mr. Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Hornan, can you please read 62-23?
22.
22?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 4 General Licensing of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance Adopting and Enacting the Revised General Ordinances of the City of Linden, 1999, passed November 23rd, 1999, and approved November 24th, 1999, and as amended and supplemented. Delete Section 4-35.25 taxi cab stands, designation, establishment, and use in its entirety, and add new Section 4-35.25 taxi cab stands, designation, establishment, and use.
Anybody wish to make a comment? May I have a motion to introduce, please?
Council President, I make a request to introduce ordinance 62-22 for introduction and ask for a second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Hornan, let's try 62-23 now.
An ordinance providing an appropriation of $508,700 for the acquisition of a citywide camera system for the police department and authorizing the issuance of $483,265 in bonds or notes of the city for financing part of the appropriation.
Any comments?
Right here, sir.
I got a comment.
Hold on a minute.
I might steal your thunder on this.
Mr. Roman?
I just want to
All right,
defer
Ms.
to
Cosby.
Mrs. Cosby.
No, I just wanted to make a comment that I remember, if everybody remembers, Phase 2 of the cameras and all like that, and we had requested cameras on Chandler Avenue in the 5th Ward where there was a lot of crime, and someone got shot. So I'm just putting it out there in the atmosphere so that probably if the chief is listening, that as we do this Phase 2, that we really take a hard look at the areas where we know there are crimes being committed, and so that we can put the cameras there. And I'm really plugging for the 5th Ward.
Council President. I just want to make note of that this ordinance represents damn good government by the commission that's been working on it. And though it says $500,000, it's going to save us money in the long run. And it's going to upgrade our cameras at the train station, which are right now inadequate. And good job on the people working on this.
Any other comments? May I have a motion to introduce, please?
Yes, Council President, I move for introduction of ordinance number 6223 and ask for a second.
Second.
Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Ms. Hornan, can you please read 62-24?
Sure. An ordinance providing an appropriation of $243,100 for the acquisition of an ambulance for the fire department and authorizing the issuance of $230,945 in bonds or notes of the city for financing part of the appropriation.
Anybody wish to make a comment? May I have a motion to introduce, please?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to introduce ordinance number 62-24 for consideration and request a second, please.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes.
Cosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. At this time, we go on comments from the members of the public in attendance. City business only. No personal, political, or derogatory comments. It will not exceed 5 minutes. So when I tell you stop, I'm not being rude. I'm just telling you that your 5 minutes are up. So we're going to start with Mayor Garbanca. Can you please come to the front?
Thank you, Council President. Rich Garbanca, 617 Princeton Road, Linden, New Jersey. And I'm here not as a former police officer or former mayor, but as president of the Linden Citizens Association. That's a 26-year organization that promotes good government in the city of Linden. And one of our concerns that has been developing is a fact pattern regarding the misuse of city vehicles by Mayor Armstead. It all began in December of 2016 with a hand-delivered letter to the mayor by Council President Alvarez informing him that he could not use his 2016 Tahoe to drive his family down the shore. In that letter was an opinion by the city attorney informing Councilman Alvarez that that city vehicle could only be used for city business and not personal business unless it was de minimis stops. In other words, that's a legal term for minor stops, such as going to pick up milk, such as picking up dry cleaning, going to lunch, but you can't use it for personal business. Then just recently, at the Galloping Hill Inn was a fire department dinner dance, and the mayor had a police officer on duty pick him up in a police vehicle. Now that was legitimate because the mayor has every right to use the police department for city business, and since that is a city function by the fire department, the mayor could use an on-duty police officer. The only issue I have with that is the fact that I had heard, although I can't prove it, that his wife was in a vehicle also being transported. Now, if that's the case, that kind of muddies the water, but again, I'll give the benefit of the doubt to the mayor. But one incident which is extremely serious was that on January 18th, the Democratic Club was having their annual kickoff dinner at Nuno's. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, the mayor used an on-duty police officer in a police vehicle to take him and his daughter to Rutgers in New Brunswick and drop her off and then come back to the city of Linden. Now, if he can't use his own city-issued vehicle for personal use, how can he use an on-duty police officer and a city police vehicle for personal use as a taxi cab to drop his daughter off in Rutgers? That is an abuse of authority. And that's an issue that Council President and I had written to the chief to look into. And we have not yet, as of this date, received a reply from the chief. Pardon me? Well, okay, let me finish. Now, I'll tell you this, if the city attorney tells me it's perfectly legal for you to have an on-duty police officer and a police vehicle to drive your daughter to New Brunswick, then Frank Dan could have an on-duty public works guy take a city lawnmower and have his daughter's lawn cut. Or I could have Al McDonald come to my house with an on-duty electrician and run some receptacles, because it's the same thing. This is a serious issue. Council President, I think you should look into it further. before it gets totally out of hand and people get hurt. Because I want you to understand, if you Google Joey Torres, the former mayor of Patterson, who used city employees to do repairs on his house, he's spending 5 years someplace else right now. So we cannot let this issue get out of hand with abuses that shouldn't be. And then let me hear what the city attorney has to say.
Mr. Gramunka, I actually just pulled up my legal opinion that I issued back in August of 2016, and it starts off by saying it's attorney-client privilege, not subject to Oprah, not to be shared with anyone else. So I'm just wondering how you were able to quote from my opinion, which was given to mayor and council in connection with my duties as city attorney as attorney-client privilege. Be that as it may.
No, wait a minute. I'll answer that. I'll answer that, counsel.
It was a rhetorical question.
Because I do not have a copy of your letter.
Well,
I have a copy of a letter from Council President Alvarez to the mayor that was hand-delivered. It wasn't your letter.
5 minutes?
Okay.
And it wasn't even given to me by Councilman Alvarez.
Okay. So that being said, my opinion does speak to the mayor's use of the city vehicle is not without limits. And I use my words and choose them carefully. Should be limited. At the end of the day, I'm not the enforcer of the mayor's use of the vehicle. I'm just a city attorney. I could give advice. Further on, I indicated that the CFO in her office was going through and following the IRS guidelines which govern the mayor's use of a vehicle, which apportions a certain dollar amount to that use for which he pays taxes on. So I've commented on that issue before. Obviously, my position hasn't changed on that. As to the use of a patrol car by the mayor at his request, as I reiterated before, Linden's form of government is unique, as you know. The Wildwood Act form of government, by statute, makes the mayor the head of the police department. So he's not an employee. So I think your example about the mayor in Patterson, wherever you mentioned, using city employees to perform work on his house, that's obviously an entirely different scenario. Here, the mayor is the head of the police department, okay? He's not using city employees to do work on his house. On this issue, when it started to circulate, I reached out to the police director in Trenton, Ernie Perry, to have a conversation with him about Mayor Eric Jackson's use of an executive detail to transport him to and from functions. They don't have a policy. He had indicated they started to craft one, but it came down to being too difficult to manage. The mayor of Trenton has 2 officers assigned to him at his request at all times, not 24/7, but basically when the mayor makes the request, he's assigned an officer who then transports him to and from his destination. So that's what I'm going to say on it. That's my position. I'm not charged with investigating the mayor. I don't have that power. Certainly, like other issues related with members of council, it would be a conflict for me to investigate any member of council. We have referred matters to outside counsel to be investigated, but that's not my decision to make.
So you're telling me on the record, based on your knowledge as a practicing attorney in the state of New Jersey, that the mayor can use an on-duty police officer and a city police vehicle to transport his daughter to New Brunswick when it has nothing to do with city business. Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad you have that on record. I also challenge you that I think you are conflicted because I am in possession of a email which you sent on December 22nd to numerous friends. Hope you can join us. If you can't and you can support Mayor Armstead, please send me a check with the complete response card to my office. Merry Christmas to all of you, Dan. And here you have an attachment for $500 to attend at 516 Carnegie Street on December 29th. I think you're conflicted with that also, Council.
Okay, Mayor, thank you. Mayor Gorbanka, time is up. Thank you.
Mr. President, if I may.
You'll have your minutes, sir.
Okay.
You'll have your minute at the end. Mr. Principato.
John Principato, 1706 Westover Road. I wasn't going to speak about that at all, but I'd like to say as a taxpayer, regardless of whether it's something that the mayor can do, and I spoke about this a couple of council meetings ago, whether it's the council's interpretation that the mayor can put his daughter in a marked police vehicle and take a ride down to school and bring her back. The bottom line is, it's just not right, okay? It's not right. I can't use a vehicle from the department I work for to go pick up my children or have them delivered somewhere. I don't care what you say about, not being an employee. It's just sloppy. It doesn't look good. And I guarantee if you poll the residents that a good majority of them are going to say, for the amount of taxes that we're paying here, even with a $12 reduction, which I'm hoping I got more than $12 off of my rent, my taxes. It's just not something we want to see, okay? Whether it's legal or not, somebody's going to find out. But it's not something we want to see. It's sloppy. And if something would have happened on the way down there, and I talked about this too before, God forbid, if something would have happened on the way down there, the city would have been liable. So it's the liability aspect, it's the way it looks, it's a few things. And I don't agree with it at all. I'm just checking my time there.
2:10.
Linden is a very desirable city. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's desirable. We don't need to make a comfortable environment, as the mayor said before, for businesses that are coming into this city. And what I mean by comfortable is tax breaks, just because they're going to hire some Linden residents, maybe. I don't believe that we should be giving away major breaks in taxes to businesses that want to come into the city of Linden, because Linden is desirable. And I think we should actually make them pay all of their taxes for the whole time that they're here. That's basically it. We have to look at perception. Perception is a big thing, and I agree with Mayor Gorbanka. It just doesn't look right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Principato. Mr. Halloran?
Yeah, Craig Halloran, 120 Donaldson Place. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank the Finance Committee and the governing body for their work on that budget. Thank you. And second of all, to help clear up some of the questions about management of a landfill. I'm not an expert, but certainly there's wastewater that comes off of this the landfill, And methane, why the city hasn't thought of the idea of taking this methane, which is essentially natural gas, and converting it or burning it and using it to create energy along with their plan for a solar panel farm or whatever they call it.
Actually,
Other than that,
I actually, when I came in 2013, and I was chairman 2 years for the landfill committee, sir, we looked in, oh, I'm sorry, just wanted to comment, we did look into that. There's not enough methane gas that was worthwhile for any vendor to come in and take. Just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Other than that, that's it. Everybody have a safe day the next couple of days with all the free water before the water company gets it.
Thank you. Mr. Martins, Ronald?
Ronald Martins, 328 Minor Terrace. I commute to New Brunswick every day, every weekday on New Jersey Transit. And I notice when I come home at night, I arrive on the eastbound platform at 6:54. Myself, some other folks, we walk under the bridge and into the parking lot on the westbound side, either to our cars or on our way home. And there's always there's a lot of cars double parked idling about shortly before 7. People are waiting for their loved ones to arrive on the eastbound train. And the fumes are, they remind me of when I was in New Delhi. It's just, people are sitting there idling 5, 10, 15 minutes, and it's really, it's noxious, it's inconsiderate. So what I'm asking you folks to consider tonight, I was at Home Depot in Elizabeth a few weeks ago, and I saw this sign from DEP, no idling zone. I think this is something we should consider, not only for the train station, but I've noticed anywhere where there's, it says no parking in yellow on the ground, half the time there's somebody parked there idling, playing with their phone. It's just wrong. It's inconsiderate, and this type of a sign might encourage folks, remind them to be considerate of the rest of us who are breathing the same air. So I'm just gonna ask you folks to take a look at this. These signs are, they're $14.50 each from DEP. And one other thing I recently learned, I didn't know this, but per DEP regulation, you're only allowed to idle your car for 3 minutes.
Correct. After that is illegal, you can get a ticket.
Right, I mean, obviously, that's, you know, no one's gonna enforce that. I called DEP, and they suggested I talk to you folks, so that's why I'm here. I'll just pass this through to you. I'm not sure who.
Right here, yeah.
Who it should, you guys wanna take a look?
We have a sign shop, they might be able to duplicate it.
Sir, Council President?
Yes.
I just emailed Tyrone, he's our sign guy. Maybe he's got them, maybe he's got to make them, whatever, but it's not a bad idea at all. And I know exactly what you're talking about. I
Well,
mean,
these are available for $14.50 from DEP.
if we have our sign shop, we'll utilize our sign shop. If we have to put out for $15 signs
I
to
mean,
get some
what's
out
the
there,
process by which a sign gets put into place?
In the parking lot, something like this should not be a problem.
Yeah.
But I am going to tell the police chief to look into this, because first, it's illegal to park on the yellow line,
Right.
which everybody knows that. You do not need a sign to remind you. If you pass the test in New Jersey, you know it's illegal.
Right.
And you should also know that if you pass the test in New Jersey, it's illegal to idle over 3 minutes. And I will talk to the chief and tell him to start sending police officers around there.
All right, I did bring this up a year ago. I spoke to the chief, but I see it every night. And
sir, we have a huge problem with it on the South Stiles Street, where all the
everywhere,
trucks
everywhere.
are.
It's all over.
Huge problem.
Over here behind CVS, I see it all the time. It's just inconsiderate. It's wrong. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I need a motion to get out of public comment.
I'd like to make a motion to get out of public comment.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yeah.
Crosby?
Yes.
Roman?
Yes.
Strano?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. I need to know who, Mayor, have you done already? You want to speak? Who else?
I do.
Medina? Lisa? Alfred?
I think
Michelle?
everyone's going to
Michelle,
take
you
a
say
stab
yes?
at it, right?
10 more
I got
minutes
you, Mayor.
coming our way.
Anybody else?
You got me, right?
Oh, no, I don't have you. No, I don't have you. Okay, 1 minute, people. Only 1 minute.
It's going to be a good 11 minutes.
Mayor, you can start, sir.
I'm up first. Yes, good evening, everybody. First of all, if any other mayor in this city deserved to have protection, it's me. Some of the ungodly things that have happened to my children, but in this political mess that you people have created. The following me with my children in the car, the calling of DIFUS to my home. Yes, my children, I feel very, very, very unsafe many times because of your actions. Let me just close out by saying, since I've been mayor, at the end of February, there were 27,720 hours since I began mayor. Of the 27,720 hours, I used the police officer 6 times for a total of 8 hours. Okay? That's not abuse, my friend. And let me tell you something else. You were here for 8 years. You never lowered your taxes in this town because you couldn't. You didn't know what you were doing. You didn't know how. I've lowered the taxes in this town.
Mayor
I've done what the
Armstead,
people
no
told me to
personal
do.
attacks, please.
Not personal attacks. Not personal attack. I lowered the taxes in this town. And they're going to be lowered again next year. And that's a fact.
Okay. Thank you. Armando?
I'm sorry. Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to just apologize for breaking protocol earlier. I just want to answer the gentleman because for 2 years I was so entrenched in that landfill, and we looked at all available resources to actually help offset some of the costs to maintain that closed landfill. And I know Councilman Javik is diligently working on a solar farm that, again, that was looked at and explored in 2013 and 14. But again, as you can see, these vendors are sometimes a little bit picky on acreage, volume, and whatnot. But again, at the end of the day, that landfill is costing us a tremendous amount of money, and any revenue that we can bring in to offset is something that we always are always looking at. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa?
Yes, just real quickly, it was stated that Parisi gave the mayor money. You need to go further back in the records, Mr. Roman, because EPM gave him money also. So let's just kind of like just be honest and just, I know you didn't know, but they both gave money, so let's not try to make him look bad by saying that one did and one didn't. And then also my next comment is, daggone it, 5 minutes is 5 minutes. It's not 5 minutes and then a rebuttal and then 5 more minutes and then a rebuttal. Mr. Antonelli, we discussed yesterday of really honing in and just making sure that the people adhere to the rules of what 5 minutes means or 1 minute means, and regardless of what your title is, it doesn't give you the right to just keep barking your issues. We need to address that really quickly, Mr. Antonelli, and I believe a lot of this governing body is going to support that because we're here way too late with nonsense. And how do you like that 0%, or excuse me, that negative tax increase? That's it.
Thank you. Alfred?
Yes, Mr. Muhammad. I would like love to see the city of Linden perhaps use the system of ex-presidents. Ex-presidents just go away. This is not a personal attack, but it's an observation. I regret my vote for some of the former people that I voted for. Man, don't come here with a political agenda as a loser. If I lost office, you wouldn't see me anymore. I just think that's just real. So all you are doing, and I've been on the planet long enough to know, politics when I see it. And it smells like a garbage dump. You're just here for the strict purpose of trying to denigrate somebody, tear this country down, country I've been in for 400 years. Stop tearing this country down and build it up with a good, optimistic spirit. Thank you. And again, if I could rescind the vote that I made some years ago,
Thank you, sir.
I would certainly do it.
Thank you, sir. Michelle?
I would like to make comment. The mayor has a beautiful family, and I don't know, I just feel compelled to say this. Several months back, one of the council members received pictures of the mayor's children going to different locations in his mailbox, and he opted to give those pictures to the mayor. He's got young children, he's got a teenage daughter. I too might consider getting a police escort. You know, there are certain things going on that the public is not aware of. There is more to the story. And public, check out that 0.
Thank you. Gretchen?
Yes, oh, what a night. Actually, Councilman Mohammed, I couldn't agree with you more. The politics just smell like dirty garbage. Councilwoman Yamakaitis, yes, it's unfortunate about our children, and people don't know everything that goes on with our children and the remarks and comments that are made. And lastly, I just want to let everybody know I will be going home to prepare my snow boots, my snow coat, and hats and gloves, and I will be out on the road tomorrow. Hopefully everybody else will stay home, but I'd just like to make sure people aren't throwing snow in the street, and helping out anybody in any way I can. Any down wires, trees that have come down, because the winds are supposed to be pretty severe, and the snow is supposed to be heavy. Please have your flashlights ready, whatever else you use in emergency situations, and call me if you need anything at all. 908-347-4548. Same numbers my children have, so please just call me if you need anything at all, and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roman?
Thank you, Council President. I want to start off by thanking the Finance Committee for the hard work they did on the budget. Once the garbage tax was repealed, we were 1.8 million in the hole. Finding that money wasn't easy, and I appreciate Barry Javik and his committee on doing that. 15% operating cuts to all the budgets. You know, we have to be tight in our negotiations this year. Overtime budgets cut big time. You know, a lot of different budgets were down because we had to get under. I'd just like to point out that in order to get to a 0 increase, we used 2 one-time payments, $1 million from Meridia's project and the East St. George project, 500 grand. We're never going to get that revenue. It's just a one-time thing, so we're filling the budget this year with that. I'd also like to say that we used a tax title lien, I believe it's called, for the first time in 30 years to get to that number. So since it was never done before, first time in 30 years we used it, I wouldn't expect it to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Roman.
Though I'm very happy it's happening. Just be careful, the devil's in the details.
Thank you. Ms. Cosby?
I wanted to say to you, Ron, thank you for coming all the time and sharing your concerns, because for a number of years I was in the audience and I was here, and so it warmed my heart when you showed the signs, because if people know in the city the Keep Kids Alive, Drive 25 signs, that was my idea that I presented to my councilman and former Mayor Gregorio. And so what started in the 5th Ward actually began to go citywide. And I think it's a reminder of people to slow down. So your idea is awesome, that you bring it to us and we try and put it into practice. I wanted to just say that we have a parking enforcement officer who works in the evenings. So if the chief is listening, he would maybe consider having the parking enforcement officer go around. You gave us an awesome timing. So in rush hour, by 7 o'clock, why wouldn't we have him, you know, go to that area and give those summonses for idlers? I mean, it's just better for the environment. So I wanted to just say thank you very much for that. Everybody be safe tomorrow in the snow, and watch what the politicians
Thank you, Ms.
do.
Cosby. Thank you. Go.
Yes, John, I just want to say I appreciate, you know, all your support that you were giving me with the Finance Committee and everything. But you can rest your heart that next year, we're going to have reoccurring revenue, and we're not going to have a problem.
That is excellent to hear, sir.
And a new mayor.
Thank you. Stop, stop. The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting Monday, April 16, 2018 at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting, Tuesday, April 17, 2018 at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, April 17, 2018 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Mrs. Ormond?
Yes.
Javik?
Yes.
Mohammed? Crosby?
Yes.
Roman? Strano?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Alvarez?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.